test until it's all done.
Right.
What organization
Sorry.
are you, LLC?
LLC. Yeah. So I was experimenting to see how this would go with the contractor before splitting them up.
Yeah.
I'm starting a company called Encore, which is spelled.
No, we gotta make him do it again.
And what I'm gonna do after experiencing
Huh?
VA works, I'm gonna get this company certified. SDVOSD also. I'm gonna utilize that.
Oh, Lord.
I joint ventures with one of my big clients who has all the equipment, all the gear, and has experience with bidding on military contracts especially. And what we plan on doing is using that as a general contractor, bring in the elite environmental group, the staff. Hopefully it works out.
Well, that would have been an interesting thing to brought up under the growth factor.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I just came up with this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say this on live. What?
He started it, but he didn't start the first half.
The video guy says you gotta do it again.
Yeah, get out of here.
Thanks, dude. We got time for it.
He came in here and he started it, so I just assumed he pressed the button, you know?
I can't do it that good a second time.
I'm just letting you know, because I feel bad.
Yeah.
No, it's just a sharing, screen, it's not recording anything. So, I'm sorry.
What does that mean?
I should have kicked Mike out of here when I saw him. Because I didn't get
I'll have to go pick up money.
you want to try to do it.
I'll be back in an hour.
Okay, because we still be going.
Then I could add that growth factor
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
and the stuff I missed out.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Two.
How everybody doing? My name is Quincy Robertson. I'm representing Embassy Security Solutions, where we want to incorporate electronic security integrations to combat violence in public schools. Next slide. Next one. Let me ask you a question. What do you consider a good school? Anybody? Okay. Go ahead. I consider a good school, good teachers. Next one. Good academic history, and a secure, safe environment. Next one. This is a little scale I came up with, a kind of cause and effect type thing. Good schools, when you think about a good school, you think about the type of people that try to get their children in good schools. They're educated, they're caring, they're mostly financially sound parents. Those are the kind of people that you attract to your environment when you create a good school. Those same people create small businesses and have a certain type of ethics in the workplace, and they reinvest back into their communities. Those same people go out and do different things in their community, and which starts to change the quality of life in their community, which starts getting recognized by shopping centers and restaurants and certain entertainment. Big market companies tend to analyze communities and different things like that, and that's how they start to migrate to different cities and different things to get to these people here, because these same people tend to reinvest back in their community. Next, after you have these features incorporated in your community, you start moving to big business, which starts like as far as real estate companies, and they tend to cause stability in the community, which generates high profit back to the homeowner and people that are invested in the school systems. So basically what I'm trying to get across to you is everything you do in your community, everybody wants to be a part of a school, good school system. People travel from all over the place just to get their kids in a good school system. You hear about a good school, you get your kids in a good school system. It doesn't matter what you have to do, how you get it done. Those certain type of people are the type of people you want in your environment. Next slide. Our core concept is to provide a high-level security integration. We want to dedicate ourselves to combat violence in schools, and we want to design systems that fit the needs of a certain school. Next slide. A little about myself. I spent 12 years in the Navy, where I worked for Diplomatic Security, NSU, Naval Support Unit at the State Department. My job was going around to different embassies and installing security systems. I would install those in ambassadors' homes and international schools all over the world. I got out the Navy in 2011. I started working for Lockheed Martin as a security engineer, working for a lot of three-letter agencies and doing the same thing, installing security systems, doing security assessments and network analysis and different things like that. One day I was at work and at one of the agencies we were working at, and somebody approached me and said that they had an opportunity somewhere else, and that somewhere else happened to be Capitol Hill. I currently am a Capitol Hill security specialist, where my job is protecting Congress and members of staff. During my time on Capitol Hill, I've had the opportunity to work in Senate and House daycare, and I noticed that the high profile and high efficiency type equipment that we put into those daycares really should be a standard for everyone. Each and every day, each and every Wednesday, I do a security assessment on House and Senate daycare to be sure that security is in place, assessments are being done properly, and I noticed that we take the extra effort for senators' kids and ambassadors' kids and public figures. So I asked myself, why can't we incorporate that same thing in public schools for your kids and everyone else's kids, my kids? And if I have the knowledge and ability to do it, I should be able to do it anywhere because it affects all of us. Next slide. It's my little girl, best baby ever. I do anything for her. I would like to get this done before she's able to go to school. She's 1 year old, and I really feel like I have a duty to try to incorporate what I want to do, the style of security I want to incorporate, and just be the template for different systems and different aspects of security in public schools. Next slide. A little bit about a assessment I did on the Obvious World. It's estimated that 55.6 million students K through 12 were in school 2014 this year. And as you notice, since 1982, shootings and threats to schools have been on the rise. 2012, all the way to 2012. And it's forecast that 57.51 million students will be in schools in 2019. That means more students, more violence. Our services will include site surveys, risk assessments. We want to try to incorporate all electronic systems to be networked together, and we want to network those systems to local law enforcement. Our target audiences are academic facilities, K through 12, parents, students, local law enforcement, teachers, affiliates, and sponsors of different schools. Competitively, we want to provide a higher quality product. I feel like I know the system, I know what to order, I know what needs to be done. I do it every day on a very high profile level, and I just want to incorporate that same competitiveness and motto in my company. We want to provide training to resource officers. Resource officers are placed in schools that receive grants from Homeland Security to provide officers for security. But the problem with resource officers are the human factor. Resource officers take off, they're on their phones, they're walking where they're not supposed to be. My system that I want to incorporate will not take off, will not be down, will not take a day off. And to be overall 24 hours and to be on a monitored network by local law enforcement. Next slide. Marketing. I want to provide security awareness briefings. Also want to market with veteran-owned companies that are doing similar analysis like me, and through veteran-owned businesses. Also want to back up my marketing with my credential support. I've been very fortunate after my military career. So I tried to bring other veterans up to a standard where I've achieved to get to where I am. So I work for DLD, I work for federal law enforcement, Flexi down in Georgia. I have a PSP, physical security certification, a whole lot of certifications from all over the place. I consider myself a professional. I'm a licensed professional in what I do. Next slide. Economic revenue. The alarm system industry is due to increase by 3.4 by the year 2015 and expected to decrease at an annual rate of 1.4 to $17.5 billion by 2019. So it looks good for my industry. And with a lot of new things and new threats coming aboard, ISIS and everything else, the industry will start to change. You will have to adapt eventually. Everyone will. A lot of issues right now are parents saying that they don't want their schools to become a prison to students. But safety is everything. So you will have to adapt. One day or the next, you will have to adapt. Next slide. This is my crew. People I'll be working with whenever we do start our business. We have over 40 years of federal and private sector security. We're all fathers, and we're all looking to apply our skill to be a problem, to fix the solution. So I want to build a environment where all kids feel safe and all kids have the ability to grow. The kids that were shot in Sandy Hook, we don't know what their potential was or what they could have been. They could have been future presidents, but we'll never know that because they never had the opportunity. So I want to provide the skills that I practice each and every day to the public. Next slide. I'm looking at a startup cost of $55,000 for the first year, estimated $55,000. That would cover security packages that I incorporated and a four-man manning team to do those projects for a year. Investors, friends, family, and personal funds, I look to contribute to start my business. Got this tweet. It felt pretty strong to me, and this is the tweet I got when I decided to do something and listen to everyone what was going on. And I had to ask myself that question, and everyone will eventually. When is it going to change? Or what are you doing about it? Because everyone can contribute in a certain kind of way. So you don't have to have a skill or knowledge or background experience in security to be able to contribute. Everyone needs to contribute to their community. That's all. So that's it for me. I don't have an established business yet and all the numbers like he has, but that's my background, that's my skill, that's what I do every day. Any questions?
Good presentation. So your target market is schools.
Yes, sir.
And
Public schools that don't have the funding to get these systems. I noticed that private schools had a little bit more leeway because them sending a letter home or whatever, parents are more susceptible to giving donations to the school to provide the security systems they need. So the problem is with public schools, funding has to come from a different resource. And a lot of these schools don't have the resources or don't have the capabilities of submitting requests for the resources. Another one of my ideas that I wanted to do is also have on my team a grant writing proposal assistant that would help different schools prepare their grants to send to Homeland Security. All these schools that have resource officers, they have to submit to their local Department of Education, their state Department of Education, a grant for a resource officer. That Department of Education submits to the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., that same grant, which comes from Homeland Security, and they provide the funding for resource officers that you see in school. But again, for resource officers, you still have the human factor. So everyone's been at work and been on their cell phone, been doing what they weren't supposed to be doing. So, but you can't take that type of risk in security, not with what's going on right now. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel, because security will always be there. Security is not going anywhere. Our threats are not going to lessen any type of way. So that's what I want to do. I feel like I'm morally obligated to do what I have to do to put myself in this position to lead. So, and if I'm not leading, I have to be a part of the solution, because my daughter and everyone else's kids depend on what I'm doing and how I do it. And if I just sit back, then that's not fair. That's not right.
So the security would be for outside threats to the school, not necessarily from students themselves per se. So
no, it's all electronic security, sir.
Well, yeah. So
the resource officer is more hands-on with the students, stopping fights and different things like that. I want to incorporate a system where there's cameras, lockdown features. The Sandy Hook shooting, the guy walks up to the door and shoots out the glass in front of the door. There's no hard line. There's no duck and cover. There's no integration devices that cause the secondary doors to lock. There wasn't no secondary doors. These schools that I'm talking about that I work in have man traps, secondary doors, duck and cover devices, everything you can think of to keep you from getting to the next tier level. That's the way it's designed. But it seems like public schools tend to let anyone that will say they will take the job and install something, install it. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. It needs to be a standard. And I want to create that same standard that I have every day, that I do every day.
You have to differentiate yourself from the regular security companies.
Yeah, I'm not providing ADT services or your mom and pop down the street. That's not me.
What I've seen is that Sandy Hook is like 15 minutes away from my house. And, I have friends whose kids go to school there.
Mm-hmm.
In our immediate area of Connecticut over there, the school system right after that went into a mode of we gotta do something different with all the schools in the area. And I'm on the board of finance in my city, and we had to vote for appropriations to put in the stuff you're talking about. And maybe, this seems like it was done a year ago in my area. Maybe there's areas that still need that weren't as impacted by Sandy Hook, and you getting in front of the school system is key, and following minutes of town meetings, and you know what I mean. That's how you get yourself in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well,
we have a town meeting, and the school system comes to us and says we need $400,000. Well, the first thing we do is we appropriate it, and then they go out, put out an RFP, and you need to be ready to differentiate yourself.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can do it cheaper than an ADT, but it's a challenge.
I don't feel like as long as the margin is not too drastically, I don't feel like I'm trying to go cheaper than ADT. ADT is not a unique source of security.
No, I know, but a lot of
They're
towns,
franchise.
a lot of towns, they go to the cheapest.
No, I understand that.
That's the only
And when you want cheap, you get cheap. So I want to incorporate a model that the same systems that we're using each and every day that don't break down, that are robust systems that continuously companies that prove themselves to work. and I know what those devices are. I know what the equipment is.
Mhm.
So you're gonna go and buy an ADT contract. They're gonna give you the lowest level device that they have and install it. And there's no accountability. There's no specifics. There's no anything stopping ADT or whoever mom and pop security company from installing these devices that barely work.
So my question to you is, how are you going to convince, so to this point, majority of the schools are going to be concerned about costs.
Yeah.
And obviously what you're providing will be a premium to whatever low thing that they are currently operating with. So how are you going to convince them that they need this top-notch level? So for instance, myself, I went to public schools my entire life, relatively bad ones, and what they were worried about was never some outside threat coming in. It was the kids in the actual school. So how are you going to convince one in a town that's already, if they need this kind of stuff, and it's a public school, they already don't have the money. I mean, they're strapped for cash in general. Okay, right? So how are you going to convince them to not only that they need this higher level of security thing that's a premium to what they're already paying, but why they need it? You know, so how is this, if I'm worried about these 10 other things, why is this one thing important to me, and why do I need to pay more for it than I'm already paying? That would be my,
Let me ask you a question. If someone broke into your house and did something to your daughter or your son, and a month before that you just had a security system installed, and the guy that came around, two guys came around, and one of the guys was like, hey, we can give you this deal on this, it's cheap. And another guy came around, hey, I can give you this deal on this, and it's a higher quality product, but you're going to pay a little bit more for it. But you know what? It's going to do what it's supposed to do. And something happened to your kids, and you took that cheaper system. How would you feel?
so from a personal level,
I know. How would you feel?
right, you feel terrible.
You would, and you know what? You would wish you did whatever you had to do, whether it's fundraising or whatever it is, to get that more reliable system. But you can't go back now. All you can do is talk about it.
Right. But I don't think that would be so the private schools, the schools and communities that have the available, they would get it instantaneously. So, I mean, you know, you can't, that line of reasonable, but the schools that don't have the money, the first and only thing that they're going to care about is, because I mean, if you can't, you
So
really
the
have enough
schools and
money
the school districts need to look at raising funds, basically, or what you're trying to say, raising funds to incorporate these systems.
Right.
Right? So, from my perspective of it, I need to publicize how important it is,
Exactly.
the history of what's going on and where we're being led to. And I need to find a way to publicize what schools need help and assistance.
Exactly. I think that would be the biggest to tell
Understand.
them why they need it. Because if I only have $1 to spend and there's 5 different things I have to spend this dollar on, you're gonna have to really convince me that why I need this dollar.
Understand that. And going back to my slide earlier about good schools and who comes to good schools, I think the in line of would have people invest that don't necessarily have kids that go to school or kids that are grown or anything like that, because the bottom line is you want to create an environment that's safe for you, and everybody wants to live in a high quality of life environment. You want to be associated where all the shops are, all the fancy movie theaters are, and different things like that. So it needs to start at that level, and everyone needs to invest in schools and back into their community. So I have to get across the point of how important that is to everyone. So everyone has a due diligence to be sure everyone's kids are safe, even if you don't have kids in that school. Everyone does, because it affects your environment, it affects your community. Yes, sir.
Your presentation was very strong on motivation and outlining desirable aspects of having a quality school environment. The points that seemed to be weak or that I missed in the presentation was how exactly does your system work? What about the way your system works makes it superior to what's out there on kind of a point-by-point basis?
Okay.
You know, and with 3 people, it wasn't even clear who was going to do the monitoring.
Okay.
Is this totally some sort of robotic electronic
Let me go back.
and those kinds of things?
Okay.
So what the motivation was very, as I said, was clear. It wasn't clear what you were delivering beyond your own expertise at having been in this business for a while.
I'm going to deliver infrastructure and specifics of infrastructure. That's what I want to
So
do.
these are devices?
These are devices, these are specific, these are parameters and different things like that put in place that we use.
Are there places where it's easier to install these devices or more difficult? And does that make a difference? Where's your target market going to be? Where are you going to focus your initial effort?
Schools.
Which school system?
I'm assuming the high-end public schools would have to be.
I wasn't sure he was talking about working with highly disadvantaged school systems. And he's in DC.
Public or private, everyone needs a standard system.
Right.
Everyone needs a standard system.
Where are you seeing yourself initially going to set up a model from which to build your business?
Public schools in my area in Charles County.
Charles County, Maryland?
Maryland, yes. This is what happened. This is the story I didn't tell in this. So, a few weeks ago, we had a break-in in my neighborhood, and we had a town hall type meeting. And my neighbor, that I see each and every day going to the mailbox, there's about 40 people in this town hall meeting, and they're talking about security and how we don't have certain lighting and different things like that, and how certain homes should be protected because they don't have a back fence or they up against this building or different things like that. So we're all talking. She points me out in front of all these people and proceeds to tell people what I do on Capitol Hill, how I do security, right? So then everyone comes to me, hey, do you know about this security system? Is this a good one? How do you do this and this and that? And at this point, I'm overwhelmed. I never thought about starting my own business. It's just information that I can relate to you that I do every day. So everybody's asking me all these questions and different things like that. So I give them my email address, I give them my card, different things like that. They're constantly emailing me, asking me questions. So the next day, I'm going to the mailbox. I see the lady again. So I said, thank you for giving me the information on different people and letting them communicate through me that way. I always seen this lady, and she only told me she was a secretary. That's all she ever told me. So we started talking, and come to find out, she's the secretary of the assistant school superintendent of my district. So knowing that what I plan to do in a certain type of way, I asked her, could you give me time to talk to the school superintendent? She said, yes, that's no problem. That shouldn't be a problem. So she sets up the meeting on the phone. I call the school superintendent. We're talking, and she tells me that we want to incorporate a system that has a standard that will be networked to local law enforcement that they can see, and that will be able to be regenerated through updated security equipment. And they want to keep the latest in security equipment. So they need frequent assessments or yearly assessments because security devices are always changing. Somebody's always coming out with something better or something new, or people want to change or whatever. So after doing that, I talked to her a few minutes, and she told me, do I have a business plan? No, I don't have a business plan. No, I don't have a business. So we got to talking like that. She wanted me to work on the business plan so she can pitch it to her board, because that's what she wants to do. So I gave her showed her my badge and my credentials and all different things like that. And she was like, please get back to me when you can. So on my way home, I have a pretty good communication with the local law enforcement down there, the sheriff's department. I go into the sheriff's department and I get to talking to them, and I tell them what I want to do. They tell me if I bring the equipment, if I network the equipment, they will provide a monitor, which saves money on my end because I don't have to provide somebody that sits there. That's the way I look at it. So I told the sheriff that I wanted to bring from all the schools certain priority cameras, could be 4 or 5 cameras out of major hallways or the front of school, each and every one of those schools, right? And I told them that I wanted the principal and key staff members of the school to have IDNS buttons. There are remote switches that will set off alarms, audible alarms, that will generate alarm and bring up the system to the local law enforcement. So after I tell them that, trying to explain it to them and break it down how would it work and different things like that, that's what he told me. He was like, if you provide the hardware, I will provide the personnel. So I left with that, and I signed up for EBB, and now I'm here. But I don't have all the particulars of the numbers and finances and different things like that. But I feel like if I don't do something and I know how to do it, not to say it won't get done, but I know it'll get done if I put in my effort to get it done. So, even if I'm not the premier company or whatever, I'm being a part of the solution. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop you because we
Okay.
went way past
No
the
problem.
time.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is all me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next victim.
Are you loaded?
No, I'm saying,
Yeah, take care.
are you loaded up on here?
No.
No.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Aaron Clay.
Aaron Clay?
Bill Hall. Good to meet you.
Aaron.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere near any bottles of water, are you?
I brought my own.
Does anybody know where you can locate a bottle of water without it going down the street?
No, not.
They have everything on
There's a water fountain.
That's so
Well,
funny.
they're in 405, but
Yeah, they were
saturated. Bust in on somebody 100%. Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna do that.
Where you guys coming in from?
Fairfield County.
Oh, Fairfield.
Yeah.
Right down,
Oh, that's on,
Fairfield
off of
University is down
Bridgeport.
there. And, the IACT works out of there too, I think.
Where you coming from?
I'm over in Harlingen, up by Thornton.
Oh, I'm closer. I'm in Litchfield, actually, right on the border of Fairfield and Litchfield and Milford.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah, way on the side.
I work,
Yeah, I'm rolling.
I work in Fairfield.
Oh, okay. Nope, I'm up in Harlingen. I'm loving it.
What did you do in the service?
I was a corpsman.
Really?
Medic with the Marines. I was
Navy
a corpsman. Yeah, I was a corpsman for 11 years.
Really?
Yep.
5 of those years I spent with Marines. So, but I'm digging in a little bit of my presentation, but
Sorry.
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I won't
so-
probe anymore.
No, that's okay. You're just gonna hear it again.
We had a corpsman on my submarine.
Yeah, I saw you.
Called him the Doc.
Independent duty.
He was,
I had no desire to go to IDC school. I wanted to go to radiology. So I did that.
cool.
How long were you in foot?
6.
Officer, enlisted?
Listed.
Enlisted?
Yeah, I did my college after. Yeah, I built
What did you do? What did you rate?
surveillance. I was ET3.
Oh.
Forward.
In front of a screen.
Now they do screen.
Right.
We're looking at digital displays, LED displays back then. Turning dials, listening to Russian, whatever it was out there, working with linguists and translators.
Yeah, I was just reading something that is a couple heavy-duty physicists have come up with ways of reading the magnetic field.
They did that.
To be able, well, now they're like very pinpoint.
We could listen to the propeller of a Russian submarine or a Russian ship and take that signal and put it through this piece of equipment that looks like an O-scope, if you know what an O-scope is, like a monitor, like something you'd see in a garage.
Like an oscilloscope?
Like an auto garage. Yeah, an oscilloscope, with like lines, and you look at a waveform and pulses, and I could listen to they call it a screw of a certain propeller. Every propeller has its own signature. And we would like put our criteria together, and then we just top it. We go like, oh, this is the Russian
Oh my God.
blah 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 submarine, and then we would radio it out and central intel, so they'd know where everything was. We did the same thing with radars. We could take a radar, so we could stick our antenna up out of the water. Radars are controlled by a crystal. It's called a magnetron or a klystron. They're like snowflakes. There's no two of the same. And once we had a catalog, we could tell what platform the radar was coming from. So that's what I did. It's boring. It sounds cool, but it's really, really boring.
Yep.
A lot of time under the water. And it smells down there.
Yep. I was in delayed enlistment for 9 months. My guy took me to the Nautilus.
Mm-hmm.
Over 4 months into it. Oh, you're gonna love it. Nautilus, hop in there, see the plane. I was in that thing for 30 seconds. And I knew right then and there, this is not for me. Totally not for me.
You ready?
Yeah, as ready as I'll ever be.
All
I'm ready, whatever.
right. I'm sorry, but there's like water fountains near the ladies' bathroom if you want to get a drink.
I'll let you go then. I'll get one.
Okay.
Cool. Pretty cool.
You wanna turn the slide yourself? Or you want me to?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I can hide this guy.
No. What'd you do?
There we go. That's it. There's just a little bar at the bottom.
Press.
I'm just throwing my
You're trying to kill my. Oh my God! What did you do? Did you kill my?
I kill you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't start pressing buttons. I already got in trouble for not recording.
Leave it to a corpsman, always in trouble.
Yeah, just leave that there.
Never happy, hardly.
Yeah. I'll hide it though.
I did it on top.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stephen Therian. I'm here today to talk to you about Total Solar Solutions. A little background about myself. I was in the Navy for 11 years. 5 of those years I spent with the Marine Corps as a combat medic. Reason why I'm here today is I've always had a desire to build something, design something that helps people. I grew up at the end of a dead-end road in the middle of Nowheresville, Connecticut. I spent the better part of my youth tearing apart everything in my dad's basement. I could still hear him right now, screaming at me, where's this part, where's that tool? So I've always had a curiosity for figuring things out, help people, and being able to come up with solutions, come up with ideas quickly with very little that I have at my hands has been something that I've really developed through my time in the Marine Corps, because I wasn't allowed to do much. I had to come up with an answer, I had to come up with a solution, and I didn't have much with me. So that's what's really given me the drive and desire to work and to move forward and to learn about this area and to try to see if I can come up with some ideas and come up with some ways that I can help and have a presence in the world and make a difference. And Total Solar Solutions is providing flexible solutions for demanding energy needs. The high demand for renewable resources is out there. We've seen it all lately. Okay? Solar is blowing up. Cheap production from China. Market here. You're seeing on TV. You're seeing solar. I have solar parties. Like we used to have Tupperware parties. Now they're having solar parties. We have 61,000 or 6,100 businesses operating $13 billion in the industry across America. We have well over 100 million individual panels in use today. And this number right here is pretty good number for last year's growth from 2013 projected through the end of 2014. It gives us a lot to work with. So what's the problem? You know, we have all these solar panels out there. What's the problem? The problem is it's inherent in the design of solar panels. Solar panels lose 50% of their heat through reflection, absorption, and radiation. We have a regular solar array here on the left that shows you your standard type you usually see on the top of people's houses. And on the right side here, you have a solar thermal. You have the thermal aspect here that heats water. Currently, the systems are only 20% effective, and there's a fixed output based on the current design. So you have a solar panel. It will only produce 20% of electricity from the energy that's coming. Will only convert 20% of the energy that's coming into it from the sun, solar. So what's the problem with that? Is customers are faced with a decision to buy a traditional solar system where you have your arrays on the roof, or you can buy a solar thermal system, which is cost prohibitive. It's smaller, it's more focused on heating water, and you lose the ability to take advantage of the solar cells that you have on the top. And those are the ones that are actually creating your electricity. So, Dr. Harris, if you have a solar system on your roof and you wanted to have solar water, you really couldn't do that. The solar system only allowed you to just do solar. So you were stuck with this problem here: inefficiency, limited output, and you had a decision. So how are we going to get around this? First, we'll start with our market demographics. When we look at our demographics, we see in the United States, it's not hard to tell that down here in the Southwest, we're going to have a higher concentration of solar energy usage. We kind of peter out as we get up here towards the north. Approximately 500,000 homes in the United States. We have an estimated 125,000 homes in the country own their systems outright, and that's the key to how total solar will work and will help. We'll be working on commercial government systems and international through China as we move forward, but we're going to be focusing on this segment of this market is going to be the residential first, in our niche. How this is going to work will be moved forward at this point. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at a solar panel. It's the solar panel that's on your roof, Dr. Harris. Okay, all you can get is the photoelectric effect. Is the output from the solar electric charge. What we propose is a retrofit. We propose that we retrofit a unit that goes onto the back of this system. This unit consists of a thermal electric material which converts electricity or converts heat into electricity. So as heat transmits itself from the solar panel through the thermoelectric material and into a water reservoir, it will create electricity. An added benefit to this is that we're actually heating water. We would have estimated that it's going to take us approximately 5 panels to heat enough water for a single family home. An added benefit to this is as you reduce the heat of the incident for the solar cells out here, you're actually increasing their ability to produce electricity. Because as a solar panel heats up, its electrical voltage will drop a bit. So we have 3 benefits. We're creating heated water. We're adding an extra amount of thermal solar electric energy to the system, and we're cooling down the actual solar cells themselves, increasing their ability to produce electricity. So how does this work? And why is this so effective? It's affordable, it's scalable, and it's adaptable. Affordable, we have lower manufacturing. The installation is already done. Everything's already in place. We're just retrofitting. Value marketing, we can change our size, we can change our models, we can change the number of panels to fit the needs of the market, the needs of the customer, as it was. We have reduced fixed costs. For us, we don't have to do a lot of that stuff. We'll schlep all those costs off to the guys who are installing and selling the panels. It's modular. You can buy 1, or you can buy 5. Okay, and this is a representation of how it will look. You will have your normal solar panels here. Well, let's say you only wanted to buy 3. You will bolt onto the back 3 of these modulars. They are connected. They are piped with the water. And the water will come out and come through. And this schematic here runs that. Comes out. The cold water comes through. Hot water comes down. It fills your tank. Very effective. Tanks today are much more efficient than they used to be. You have the opportunity to save a lot. Transfer heating away. So what we're doing is transferring heat away from the solar cell. The thermoelectric adds extra voltage for ability to heat water, which dramatically lowers the electric bill. And you can irradiate solar electricity solar on cloudy conditions, which is helpful in the northern states. It's adaptable to variable climates. So if it starts to get too cold, the system can actually shut itself off and drain itself. That way there, you're not freezing the water that's inside, and you're still able to take advantage of the solar cell. And it will eventually be able to increase the home business values. A competitive strategy will be identifying customers with active solar systems looking to maximize their output. So Dr. Harris, you've had yours installed 15 years ago. Yeah, you've paid it off. It's got a fixed output. There's nothing you can do with it. We'll be able to add a few to the back of this. We'll be able to add a solar and water or a water heating capacity to this, which will actually increase your ability to save. If you have space and financial restraints, let's say you're in an urban area and you only have so much space to work with. You can only put 5 panels up. You can't do anything more than that. You're able to put 5 units underneath. You can actually turn your system into a water heating plus solar system. The key terms that we're seem to be focusing on for this business, we'll be looking for state and government grants. We'll be trying to piggyback on what's going on today in the market, see if we can help use those to bring down the overall costs, which actually hopefully be able to bring up our margin. And we'll really be focusing on the customer's demand. Customer demands more efficient systems. That's one of the key aspects to our marketing campaign, is being able to apply this technology to increase their ability to create electricity. Oh, okay. Thank you. Our economic model focuses on this. Average household is $132. Average water cost to heat water is $46 out of that $132. Your average solar system will reduce that cost by 62 cents, leaving with $78. Our system will create energy 2 ways: through the solar electric, thermoelectric effect, and also through the water effect by heating water. These 2 combined actually have a fairly large amount of savings. So if we can add this savings, retrofitted, added to this, we actually drop our adjusted monthly bill down quite a bit. I know that's quite a low number. It's kind of one of those, yeah, whatever numbers. But we actually have some pretty good fair market research that gives us indication that if we can reach the 25%, we're pretty close to getting to this with a pretty significant annual return on investment. Next one, please. Our marketing strategy would be trying to demonstrate quantifiable results. We're focusing on residential. We'll really be focusing on hot water systems by turning your existing system into a hot water system, which will give you the greatest benefit financially and your return on investment and increasing our margin. Our channels, we're working on going to trade shows, we're publishing results. We're looking for those few positives that we have out there so we can push the product. And we're looking to try to find our distribution channels to get them out to the sales representative community. Our customer relationships, this company is going to be focused on B2B. We're not going to be focused on selling to customers. We're going to let the 6,100 companies out there in the country do that work for us. We just want to get the product to them through licensing of the product in the process. We're focusing on high quality and honest practices. Coming from the military, honor, courage, and commitment, that will be our core values, and we're going to be moving forward to provide very high quality equipment, and we'll be standing by our equipment. Next, please. Our key activities will be designing the systems, perfecting the efficiency and the output, consulting with solar distributors, kind of figure out what's going to work the best. We work on B2B marketing. We'll be detailed, thorough market research so we can flesh out some other areas where we can try to figure out where this is going to work. We'll be applying for inclusion in the government consumer subsidy programs. Some of our key operational challenges will be startup costs, proving the technology, warehousing, warehousing, distribution, and some of the things we have to be careful for is we're going to be looking for competing technologies, right? And some of the other industry, from the industry and from independents such as myself. Well, in the financials, full system retrofit over 5 years for 25 units, be $3,700, which would give you a cost savings per unit of $48. If we did a 50% wholesale of that, we'd be taking $74, and a minimum manufacturing cost with a 20% margin. We're trying to get everything down to about $59. So if this is just a standalone, no hot water, we're looking at a $14 profit per unit or per panel. We add the hot water to this, it changes significantly. With 554 to 227 to 188 or 181, and then we get down to $45 per panel. And this is based on 5 panels is what we need to provide the hot water system usage for a family home. Next, please. So our return on investment, and then through our revenue streams here, our 5-unit hot water systems, cost of goods sold, we're just focusing on those. At 1 year, if we sell 100 a month for $1,200 for the year, we can expect 272 with a 2-year and a 5-year return on investment. And that's with a 500 per month for a 12-year. Next, please. Our funding, our startup, we're looking at $160,000 approximately. This is where we're going to be needing your help. The R&D costs, our marketing, and our first production run. Our funding sources are R&D grants, and of course, investment capital. Our financial risk, time to market, competing technologies, and ability to scale and demonstrate. Please. My management team is myself. I will be the owner. However, I don't think I'm the guy that got to be a CEO. I think I'm the brains behind the idea. I'm the guy that has the vision. I'll be searching somebody to be my business CEO, my business plan marketing manager. And right now I have an MBA who's on the team for that. My design, I have an electrical and mechanical engineer. I have a CAD developing, tooling, and molding company. And I also have an accountant that will be helping the work through the financials. And this is what I have so far for my team. And from here, I'll be building on it moving forward. And with this, I look forward to the opportunity to work together and build something new for our future. And thank you very much. All right. Thanks. My necktie is way too tight.
Put the heat down in this room, though.
No. Okay.
So target market, where are you going to focus initially to ramp up to 100 units per month?
Target market is going to be systems that are already in place, focusing more on the people
Where
at this region.
in Connecticut,
Yes.
Northeast,
Northeast.
tri-state, multi-state?
Tri-state is going to be the easiest if I can get the manufacturing costs here to fit my budget. Great. I can move my manufacturing costs to Massachusetts or New York. We'll move from that area and we'll look and see if we can get for distribution from there.
Do you know the number of people with actual solar units in Connecticut? It seemed like that would be a small number here in the Northeast.
At this moment, I do not have those numbers. I was researching and I could not actually find those numbers for this particular presentation.
Two questions. So first question is this a concept you invented that you need to prove now with R&D,
Yes,
or does it actually work?
I do have a prototype at my home that does actually show the benefit. It's on a 12 by 12, 17 watt system with a few solar, thermoelectric.
Okay, so you have a working prototype.
I do.
And then how is your business plan affected, or how is the demand for something like this going to be affected by this 25% pullback in oil prices that we've experienced since June?
I think the great thing about this particular technology is it's a little bit, I don't want to say bulletproof, but I'm focusing on the solar systems that are already in place. So these are the solutions, and the ones that we first want to get to, like I said before, are the ones that have already paid it off, and they still want a little bit more. Okay, they have a fixed cost, they have a fixed benefit, but they keep seeing their electric bill rise, so they're stuck. So we offer a retrofit to add a little bit more to that, so they can recoup a little bit more of that cost without going to a new system and focusing on retrofit. We don't have to do all the extra building and designing. We screw them in, we plumb them in, and that's it.
You're going to actually contract it. You're going to actually do the work. Your team's going to do the work.
No, we are B2B.
Sub it out.
We are B2B. We are going to be producing and distributing. We're the manufacturer, producing, distributing. We're going to be getting them out to the retail market, so these companies can actually sell and install them themselves.
All right, so you're sitting in the manufacturing piece of the overall supply chain.
Correct. We want to
You're not
reduce.
doing installation.
We want to reduce our overhead by. That's why our 50%. That's why our 50% was giving us that space to work with our retailers.
Yeah. Have you identified a core group of most likely target people?
Yes, that's.
That are working. That you would position this product to? Have you lined up somebody to work with you in getting proof of concept?
Actually, I do. So, well, I have.
Say more.
I have a tremendous resource in Eric Knight. He will help me to be able to move forward on designing the prototype.
Okay.
I have a computer automated design and manufacturing. It's actually a brother-in-law who actually happens to run a company that does this. My girlfriend at this time, she is my business manager. She's a UConn MBA. And of course, it's the reason why this looks a little bit better than I probably could have come up with on my own. Yes.
Is this technology like patentable, or is it?
Absolutely.
So why do you want to be in manufacturing if you can get this thing working and really working, and then just let somebody else build it? You really want to be running a warehouse manufacturing, but it's so capital intensive and I don't know. Just
good question.
License it out to like.
I think
the Chinese.
I think initially I'm anal attentive about the quality. I want to make sure in the beginning that I get a quality product out there, something that people can stand behind, so that if I hand this off to my my retailer, that I know that I'm giving them a good product. So no, for me personally, this is a build up and sell. It's ultimately my decision. Ultimately, what I want to do in the world is I really want to be working on medical products. I'm going to be saving lives. But this will be a build up and sell, getting capital to move forward that way.
I guess I still have a question about why Connecticut, because for two reasons it would seem like the Southwest or California would be better. One, the like Southwest Arizona area, you can probably find cheaper labor if you're going to do the manufacturing yourself. And then I know California has the largest population of people who actually own solar panels because the state subsidizes them.
Pretty much because this is all I know. So until somebody like you comes up and throws that idea in my head, it's new. So a lot of this is new.
I mean, New York makes some sense because they have economic zones where you set up a manufacturing facility there, you can get a 10-year tax break, which could factor into your profitability model. It's not clear to what extent we're going to be able to do that within the Connecticut system. I haven't seen those kinds of pockets there. One of the things that was a little bit troublesome, and I wanted to clarify, was when temperature drops, the system is going to drain itself.
Correct.
This means that if I had one of these systems on my roof, during 8 months of the year, I might not be getting, or 6 months of the year, I might not be getting any benefit from this system.
It's all temperature driven. So during the day, right? During the day, as the sun heats the top of your house, it will allow it to actually pump through as long as it hasn't reached a certain level, a certain set low temperature.
I mean, is the magic number 30 degrees or 32?
The magic number is going to have to be 15 degrees above freezing.
So in this part of the country, I mean, when I've seen thermal solar systems operate, they've been operating with an antifreeze as opposed to a direct water line. And the antifreeze is then put into a coil that then heats. And so you're doing a direct heat of the water. Correct?
Correct. Research and development will take us in different directions as well.
I'm just not convinced that this system would give a person in this portion of the world enough benefit due to your up and down times for the heating system.
That's what we're concerned.
I would be interested to know how many people in Connecticut actually own solar panels on their residential.
It's increasing because you don't have to have full sun to actually pull it off. And partly because Germany is now supplying over 50% of its electric energy with solar, and they're climate-wise parallel to what we are. So there are opportunities for the solar panel technologically, not that I know anything about this.
Some of the other things that we were thinking about as we move forward is moving into China. This technology is something that would work in remote areas in China. They're doing a lot of what we're doing here, and China's blowing up their market, and they're trying to get off of their coal business. I mean, they're big one. A new coal plant every week. So they're pushing pretty hard to bring solar up on the stage.
I was wondering whether this would be better not as a residential system, but as a commercial system.
Yeah. I picked residential because
I agree with.
I think
on that.
Yeah.
I would think that you would have a benefit proposition that you might be able to make more effectively in a commercial setting than a residential setting.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this would be a really hard sell for my house with some of the limitations I'm seeing right now. But
in the
I would
Northeast.
think in a commercial system, there may be ways to overcome some of these limitations.
True. I do believe that in the Northeast, it would be a bit more of a challenge. I think as we move down below
Yeah,
the
below the
freeze,
Mason-Dixon line.
below the freeze line,
Yeah.
being able to retrofit a lot of those solar panels, and there are quite a few down there, with the ability to turn their systems into hot water systems, has a significant advantage over their single output that they have now. So.
There's a lot more margin in commercial systems. The power purchase agreements. I mean, you should look at power purchase agreements. They're kind of confusing when I try to understand them, but they basically it's liquidity for businesses to finance these solar systems without having to come out of pocket. I can't remember exactly how they work, but power purchase agreements, if you're in this business, you should definitely read everything you can about them.
The other thing is, if we ever do get cap and trade, then this would fall into a cap and trade model for alternative energy. So that would be another benefit. Just some things to think about.
This is one of the many of the ideas I have in the book.
Good job. Good job.
You guys, how was my presentation? How was my delivery? I think it was a little rushed. I stood in front a little bit.
Bring a handkerchief with you when you talk.
You went through the financials a little bit. I'm a
Way
financial
too
guy.
fast.
I was like, you buzzed.
Yeah, I realized my time on that.
Yeah,
so,
I couldn't follow
because
financials.
that's the meat of what you guys are concerned about. Well,
No, I was
early
the
stage.
whole thing.
I like to understand the financials.
If you guys are going to be funding this process, you don't understand return on investment.
Right.
Have I thought that?
You're sitting in front of a venture
Am I-
capital company.
Exactly.
You gotta get comfortable with
Am I getting my
first
stuff?
before you even
I need to get a
first
17 and a half is what I need.
You're all set.
Oh my God.
25.
It's 25.
Yeah.
All right, am I good?
Yeah, you're
Thanks,
good.
sweetie.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, hey, so, anyway, I wanted to
Interesting. Yeah, that'll work. Why hasn't somebody done it already? I don't know how it works up here. I mean, the concept of the water needed from the solar panel, in addition to getting the, I mean, it's interesting. Well, I wonder if it's already patented. You solar panel going out?
I used to live in the Southwest, and we did a lot of work on experimenting with these different systems. It's an interesting idea.
Usability.
That's the tough one. I think he's been definitely the best to win it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from that point of view, this is.
And most enthusiastic, for sure.
Detail was better. Practicality depends upon what markets he decides to go after.
I mean, I would think in like Arizona, Southern California, they're giving out like subsidies to individuals there to install it.
I think there's places where this would fit. I'm just not sure where he's currently located is the ideal, particularly with the limitation of the thing having a drain.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're in Arizona,
I'm not convinced my roof gets that hot in the wintertime.
right? Yeah, up here, yeah, definitely. But if you're in Phoenix, where the temperature never drops below like 65,
Exactly. Phoenix
cold as
Plus
part of the year.
Phoenix commercial projects.
Yeah.
Power purchase agreements where the bank finances it and buys it back from the.
This is work Oklahoma, Texas, and that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
That whole
Sun Belt.
basically Sun Belt
Yeah.
kind of phenomenon. But
How many are we seeing? How many presentations?
supposed to be,
Well, we got this one.
I had asked them to go and grab water, but I'm not
they did any of that.
I need to find your stream that I should bring up.
Oh, sure.
I'll take your thumb drive, install it. Do you want me to help you out with the slides? Click it, or you do it yourself? No.
Oh, can't go there?
Down here, so I'm a little bit wide, but
Don't know.
what was it? Is it P?
No, it's still loading.
Oh, E. There you go.
Okay. Are you just gonna play it off my thing, or?
I'm just gonna copy it to the desktop. Paste. Alright, so we got 4. Alright. And yeah, all set. Alright, so when they come back. So you're all set. You don't need to, because like if you want to stand on this side, it might block them from seeing anything on this side. So you're gonna have to stand on that side.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have a clicker?
No.
Okay. Well, I brought a wireless mouse for that reason, so I'll just plug that in. That's fine. I want you to be able to see it.
Hmm?
I want you to be able to see it.
Oh, okay. You go, boy. If you, at any point in time, need me to come and click for you, I'll do it. Don't worry. You just give me the hand wave and I'll come, because it, the last guy, he was standing in front of the information, and, the 2 guys who really need to see this right here.
Yeah.
So. Mhm. So you have 15 minutes, right?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, you're moving it. I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is this? Oh, is this the live stream?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I better not say that on my.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Can I close these? These are done, right?
Yeah, close them.
So who are we waiting for?
2 people.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna use the restroom then. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. So where do you live?
I live in Hartford.
Oh yeah?
Mhm.
So it's pretty easy for you to commute here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live right over there on Park Street.
Born and raised?
No, from Chicago. I've only been in Connecticut a little over a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go back to Chicago, don't you?
definitely a lot different here.
I would absolutely go to Chicago.
I think Connecticut is just too much of a family place.
He needs a family. Those things are for the birds.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a city girl, so I really I'm just not used to these. You know, when I go now, Jersey City.
Oh, okay.
I got lunch.
Yay!
Cheesy crackers and French onion soup for Panera Bread.
That was quick.
Just that quick?
Yeah.
Cheesy crackers are down the hall
You must
for
have
$1.
Oh.
And one of the vets gave me his French onion soup that he's not eating.
Oh, that was cool.
I tell you, this is what we call resources.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, or bribes.
I
You hungry? You hungry? I know you hungry, right?
Right.
Yeah, vote for me. That's right, buddy.
ROI. You get a
So I
Give away a cup of
figured,
soup,
you know, a few
$1,500
crunchy
grand prize.
cheesy crackers in my soup is gonna, you know, just
That-
top this thing off.
That's right. I'm saying that tastes awesome. Mm.
You know, I did learn a few things in Girl Scouts.
Say what? That's right. That's right.
Be resourceful. All right.
You know the French onion soup, the pizza place is really good.
You know, the soups that Panera does have been really, really good.
Yeah.
I've been hip to them.
Mhm.
I just thought they were a bread place at one point, but then someone just drugged me there.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's
Hey. How you doing? All right. How you been?
No,
What?
worst week of my life.
Stop it. Oh, with the homework?
No, my stomach. I think I've been like in bed for like almost 3 days now.
Uh-oh.
I'm not sick like that. Like,
You haven't traveled to...
No.
Let me get away from
No.
you.
I think I got ulcers.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband said that to me. Oh,
Oh,
my
good,
stomach's
right?
been messed
Oh,
up.
it goes good with my crackers. Let me tell you, this just
Yeah,
tops my crackers right off.
boy, I wish I had some of that.
Is somebody up next? You want me to call them? Are they running late?
No, we're waiting for a judge
Okay.
Yeah.
because the person is outside.
All right.
He's in a room talking.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So do you want me to start, get him to get Sean to start, or do you want to wait?
You said he's somewhere talking?
Yeah, we should just grab him and tell him, come on in.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in the room where the coffee is.
Chit chatting.
I mean, come on. Move it on. Taskmaster.
Sorry to keep you on.
Uh-huh.
My quest was successful.
Yeah, I tell you. It was on the evaluation.
Yeah.
Look hard enough and you will find. I talked to the guy George, who's I don't know if you met George. He's just got out of the Navy. He was captain, commanding officer of 2 Trident submarines.
Really?
Which means he's a badass. And like I rode subs, the captain was like God.
Well, yeah.
Now years later, I'm like as old as the captain, but when I was in, and he's looking for a job. And like,
So he was captain of 2 different
Tridents,
Tridents,
which are
which are
the biggest and baddest.
the biggest and the baddest.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
And to be a captain of the, so he's looking for a job, and I'm like, he's gonna have no problem finding a job. I mean,
I would think he wouldn't have a problem.
a good job. He's management. So I'm trying to help him out. Contacts I have.
How's it going?
I just sent it down here to handle the computer for the people who are presenting.
Okay.
Oh,
Is
did
that,
he?
is that your presentation?
Yeah.
my presentation. Do I get the money?
We're losing you? Taking off? Were you guys swapping out? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, I'm just coming in here. I was just in one of the other rooms. Mike just wanted to send you down here.
No, you're not the presenter.
No.
No, he's one of my GAs.
I'm all confused.
All right, we ready?
Yeah. Rock and roll.
So you just hit that and then you are all set.
How's that?
If you just
You gentlemen ready?
Sir.
Got my little creativity. All right, so good afternoon. My name is Sean Selman, and my presentation is based off my current company called North Carolina IT Professionals. We're an S corporation structure, and we've been in business for 3 years now. And our startup cost was under $1,000, so we've well made that up since then. Next. So these are our core concepts. Service processes that produce stable results, and the way we do that is having a streamlined process of knowing our products and knowing our hardware when we're interacting with them and how to configure them quickly and efficiently. Computer repair services for our home users until antivirus, cleaning up their computers, reinstalling their operating systems, anything that has to do with the home sector where they need help getting started so they can connect their computer to interact with the internet or anything else they want. Next. Infrastructure implementation, all that plus infrastructure implementation support services for our businesses. For example, server switches, routers, email servers, exchange servers, anything that the business environment might entail. Next. Market services expansion. So all this is our foundation, but we seek to move into other markets as well, like marketing and web design and R&D in the hardware areas. And one of the biggest things I want to get into is software engineering. Community service at every opportunity, every chance that we have to get back, whether it's to a school, a nonprofit, or a sports team, or some way invest in our community in a way that encourages young people or people of our adult age, depending on the situation, to either have some sort of opportunity to have access to education or some resource that makes their life better. Permanent results that empower and encourage our customers indefinitely. So when we fix a computer, when we do it right the first time, it encourages our customers to try new things. Instead of being stuck in the way of, I can't do that, or having the mentality of, it's not possible, because they're continuously fearful that their computer might break or can't handle it and will have to go back and spend more money to get their computer fixed. Fast turnaround time, we can get it back to the same day or the next, doesn't matter what it is, unless, there's just something really just extreme, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Cost savings, because they only pay once. We have great competitive rates at low prices, and we still offer discounts on top of that. In 3 years, we've never changed our prices by raising them. Psychologically, we remove the fear factor, allowing people to try new things, as I was saying earlier, and it makes them feel more comfortable as we build a relationship with them. We talk to them in an interpersonal way, just communicating how to interact with their technology and making them feel comfortable one interaction at a time. These discounts are offered to teachers, military, business, students, and nonprofits. All of this builds the foundation of dependability, where we are a one-stop resource where people will come back to us and use us again. The IT market. If there is any question in anybody's mind, if there is a market for information technology, I just thought I'd remove everybody's doubts right here. But I researched it anyways. And here's a graph we can see from cell phones, smartphones, desktop computers. You can read all that there, and how much it has increased in the last few years. In my market, specifically in North Carolina, I live in the Onslow County community, and Onslow County is 771.97 square miles. And inside of that, I live in just outside Jacksonville, which is one of the small towns inside of Onslow County, which is 55.86 square miles. So anywhere I need to commute is at least a 10-mile drive within the city. Here I have the percentages broken down by the city, state, and country, by ages and gender. Just to give you a graphical representation, the yellow area represents Jacksonville, and the white outline is Onslow County. Marketing. So how do we do this? How do we connect with our community, and how do we get our products and services out there? You're gonna have to hit these twice. So online presence, one more time. Business networking through the chamber, through the college, through people, through our clients, through referrals that we get through people who have done business with us previously. Business networking international, solid foundation to get started. I joined this program or this organization when I first incorporated, and that kind of set my business on the forefront too. And last but not least, word of mouth. Once we have seen successfully, we have left BNI, and all our income is either based on interaction, web referrals, or word of mouth. Operations. This is kind of a breakdown, a simple breakdown of what it looks like every day at NCIT. Always working on certifications and training, always enhancing our skill set, always finding a new way to do the same thing better. So revenue streams. I have learned recently how to do strong market research the correct way and how to track my finances. So this is kind of a basic scale. As I was telling you earlier, we started with $1,000 and we have more than made up that margin. So I broke this down through fixed costs monthly, yearly, and 5-year projections. So this is just computer repair alone. This is not including business contracts, developing other sections for hiring employees to start moving into marketing, to sell programs or anything else. This is purely just going to people's, this is our home users. It's about $2,000 a month just on that alone. And this is just kind of telling you what our overheads are, fixed or variable costs. Financing. Where do we get our cash flow from? Business established for 3 years, under $1,000. Our sources are so funds for expansion come from grants, supporters, contacts, and loyal customers. So that repeat business that we get, that repeat foot traffic, monthly contracts, yearly contracts, specific service contracts. Pretty much everything that we make is reinvested back into the company, either through developing employees or through marketing or investing in areas of our community. How do we serve to benefit the community? Discounts, 10% for all the people mentioned before, and it's not mentioned on here, but nonprofits as well. Students get a flat service rate. So the discount that students get that I was referring to earlier is not 10%. They get a flat $20 an hour rate on all our services. So it doesn't matter what they need, they get a flat $20 because they already have enough overhead to worry about as far as school tuition, bills, eating pizza, and anything else that they choose to spend their money on. So it's just kind of a way of easing their pain and allowing them to be able to go to school. And we want productive members of society. We want to encourage that behavior. So that's a way of easing the burden and still making a small profit on the side. So what other ways do we give back? So we've already committed to giving $1,000 to the EBB program every year. And that will, so there's a limited amount of slots. And so by giving an additional $1,000, that allows another person to be able to get $1,000 who might not otherwise have won a prize. What that will do is if that person's their business comes to fruition, we're funding jobs, we're funding opportunities, we're allowing people to get off the ground. So hopefully they will too also see the benefit of the EBB program and give back to the community by hiring veterans or reinvesting, offering donations to the program or finding some other way to fund their local community. Hiring veterans. I had never really thought about specifically hiring veterans. I've always been, obviously being a Marine myself, I consider the talents of people from all walks and backgrounds, but specifically the military force, I've seen the advantages of hiring veterans. it's not that I was opposed to it before. I've just kind of taken a greater vested interest in it as recent. Just to kind of, my ambitions are only as limited by my skill set. So I see veterans, and I know plenty of veterans with the talent that I'm looking for that would put my business on the level that I'm looking for. Monthly contracts, the way businesses benefit from that is because they're working with us and we're putting their business on the forefront as well by giving them the streamlined services and skills that we offer. Funding for education. So something I tried to do before I left, I didn't have the resources to do, was to start a nonprofit in my community. The nonprofit focus on education to those who are underprivileged and being able to allow them to come to the courses to get Microsoft Office certified. So that way, if they're unemployed, they're on, they're not able to make a steady income, they have children or whatever, we provide daycare for them, we provide the resources and the institution for them to, all they would have to do is show up and they'd be free to them. So that cuts out the middle person of having to register from college courses, having to register for or apply for financial aid. It takes off that burden from them, that intimidation factor that they might be struggling with. It's simply an opportunity to kind of give them an opportunity to get into the office space, to get a stable, steady job, and start encouraging them and help them kind of get that momentum rolling in their life again. Continually giving back to the community and the people around us. So always empowering people, whether it's our users or the people we interact with, or pouring back into education. There's a lot of ambitious plans that I have with my corporation. I'm personally going to college in January to get my MIS degree and sustaining the business while I do that. Eventually, I want to get large enough to move into R&D and start a couple other nonprofits as well. One more. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to have been a part of the EDU program. Without going into my background or my history or anything, this program has changed me because it has affirmed me. I have a pretty good business intuition and instincts, and it has absolutely affirmed me what I thought that I knew, changing it from the theory to the fact. And that empowers me as an individual to be confident to go out and do and execute what it is I know that needs to be done, and being confident in those areas and being able to push forward and make what I want to come to fruition. My biggest objective in life is I want to do philanthropy work. One of the other things is to start an institution for people. It's basically a seeding school that will basically build leaders through teaching people how to problem solve and do communications more effectively and basically debate drama forensics and stuff like that. So that's my presentation, and thank you. I can answer any questions, please.
You're in business right now, right?
Yes, I am, sir.
How long?
3 years.
What kind of numbers have you turned over in the last?
Give me an example.
Like, what was your revenue year 1, 2, 3?
I don't know. I'd have to check my QuickBooks, but I can tell you that I've made over $20,000 in the last 3 years just doing computer work alone for home users.
You're the only employee right now?
That's correct. And the only reason I know that is because I recently looked and I'm like, oh wow, I've made that much. So in 3 years, we've produced over $20,000.
In revenue or profit?
Profit.
Okay.
And the overhead that I showed you, literally, cell phone. So let's go back.
Your total sales that you booked in 3 years, total sales.
20,000.
20,000.
Over 20,000. Yes,
So,
sir.
so then you take out your expenses and
Correct.
profits less.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to know.
I don't know the profit number exactly after bills, but yes, over $20,000 just by myself.
In top line, right?
Yes. Yes. Go to the next screen. Okay, so looking at this, it didn't break down exactly the way I wanted it to, but of course these are my fixed rates. I only put this for twice a month, so we'll say $80 is how I produce that out. So on a yearly basis, that comes out to about 5 something, and over the course of 2 years, a few $1,000s or whatever. Business cards, work order forms, prints, I might do that. My last order of business cards, I ordered February of last year. I ordered over 1,000. So I'm very frugal with my resources. Printer ink, I don't print out things too often. I get my orders forms from Staples. That's about a $75 order, and I order them as needed. And I go through them pretty well. I have a great. I just keep plenty of stuff on. It really doesn't. And that's the thing about the IT field is people are always overcharging. They're not very experienced, not very thorough. They have all the certifications. They're very smart academically, but they don't put forth the effort to really learn about how to do information technology. So when you read about things in the news like security breach by Target, I immediately don't even think twice. I know whose fault it was. That could have been prevented easily.
How many clients do you have?
Over 89.
Are they, and how long have they been
3 years or more, because they're ongoing.
they're ongoing?
Yes, and some of them, I was
So
in the
these are
military.
89 retained clients.
Yes, but I have some that are military. So, for example, I had one gentleman. I was at Best Buy, and they were going to charge him like $230 or $300 just to get started. I said, "Hey, I have an IT business. I can help you out." And so he gave me his laptop. I got it back to him. He was in school at the time, at the engineer school, and he was transferred to California. But those are small examples. Most of them are homes, families. Yes, sir.
You have 90 clients. I'm just trying to understand the math here. I mean, I get your model and I like it. Your presentation was real good, but you have 90 clients and you've had them all for 3 years and you've made total sales of $20,000 in 3 years. Is it possible you're charging too little?
It's possible. And I won't disclose my prices just because I'm online, but I've never changed them. My clients know what they are.
Okay.
That is possible. And I've looked into that, but please consider, sir, the industry, the geographic location that I'm at. I'm in a low poverty location. So the cost of living there, it's really not that high. So my prices are very affordable for the people who do live there. And
Your clients are not on retainer. They're paying per job.
Yes, sir. Unless they have a contract with me. Those are businesses. I do offer contracts to home users, but once I fix it, they really don't come back to me unless they break it or they have a new issue. So, I mean, we're very effective at what we do. And turning over new customers is no problem. So if they've been to other places a couple times, no big deal. We work with them one time and they love our services and they come back. Or they try to find a cheaper alternative solution to that. It doesn't work and they come back. I've seen that several times.
What kind of stuff do you do for the home user? So is it just installing virus protection, removing viruses, that kind of stuff, or?
No, it's way more detailed, if I may.
Yeah.
So this is just an overview of the services that we do for our clients. Because computer repair is not just installing your operating system, fixing your computer with antivirus software, making sure that things are running the way they're supposed to. There are so many things that entail that the line between computer repair and infrastructure is kind of a blurry one. It's a gray line, but typically, pretty much after you start touching routers, that's when it stops with computer repair. But that stuff is included with computer repair because it's technological and it's interacting with computers. So the responsibility is to still on the technician to be just as thorough with their computer as they are with their network infrastructure. And what I mean by that, not to be sound vague, is basically if I know how to configure the computers the way that I do, I still need to know how to configure the network as well. And that entails your firewalls, your switches, your routers, mapping IP addresses, things of that nature. But actually mapping IP addresses are actually a part of computer repair. So it's all inclusive sometimes.
So this isn't for casual.
Is this a hobby? No, sir.
No. I mean, I'm the person who would need your services. So obviously, it's someone who just casually uses their computer, surfing the web and checking their email and stuff.
Those are most of my home user clients.
Right.
We encompass everybody. So when people ask who is your ideal client, I just say anybody who uses a cell phone or computer. And we also like to jokingly say that we're therapy to give people pain relief from the stresses of their computers. So
if you win the EBV seed money, you're going to give it right back to EBV?
that is correct. Because then you guys may not use it this year, but you might use it next year when you have 3 slots to give away per presentation. And that will empower somebody else to start a business that might be better than, or not better, but they might actually go through with it where somebody might not, or they might squander it. But that's their opportunity to burn or use.
Interesting.
What is your goal 3 years down the road?
In my personal life or with my corporation?
Well, either. Both.
Well, my personal life, it'll be to be graduating from college from UNC Chapel Hill. with my corporation. I'm hoping that we'll have enough clients to have penetrated the business infrastructure and in not just with servers and switches, but also with, like I was talking about, the website development, the marketing development. There's something that I missed. Oh, I'm hoping to just be starting software engineering.
What kind of software engineering?
It depends on the client, and I can't really talk about that. That's business stuff. I can't go into that. But essentially, just like Mr. Rob, he develops products for those clients and whatever their need might be. Basically the same thing.
So you're going to school in Chapel Hill, but this business is in Jacksonville. Is that nearby?
It is.
Okay.
But I have to start in the community college because I didn't have the academic skills necessary to get into this college. I did apply, but fortunately, it's just funny how things come around because the academic counselor that I have at the community college graduated from Chapel Hill. She knows my pain. She's like, I've got you. So actually, when I get back on the 20th of this month, we're sitting down and we're looking at my classes. She's already lined it up with my MIS degree. So I'm going to take my community colleges and transfer right into Chapel Hill and continue on to graduation.
All right, so we are at time.
Thank you for your time.
One suggestion
Yes, please.
there, and it's really a minor fix for you, but it is an important image issue. Your slides have a number of typos and misspells.
Do they?
And even this webpage has misspelling on it, which will impact your credibility
Yes.
with your clients. So use the spelling check software and grammar check software and go through your materials very carefully, and maybe a dictionary if that doesn't cut it, or have someone else read it.
I have not had a chance to get someone else to read it because I do have to work at night,
Right.
so I get kind
I think
of
that's-
For example, no connection is misspelled and maintenance is misspelled. There's a number of these kinds of issues.
I believe this, but in my defense, sir, I did use spell check on PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
you have to be
Yes.
very careful about it, because PowerPoint will sometimes accept certain spellings that are not relevant. So
But yes, on my website, like I said, I didn't really actually touch on it. But marketing in my business is, I think, one of the things that hurts my image because I'm not a website person. I built this website, but that's not.
I'm just disappointed.
No, and I appreciate that because I have gotten feedback on that before. So you're not the first person to tell
I
me.
have one other feedback.
Yes, sir.
If you win that, you should put it in your business, and when you start becoming
When you be
profitable,
profitable for
then you get
that.
back. That's the best thing. That's what I think you should do. Just my opinion. That you're here, you made a great presentation, and if you get awarded the award, seed money, you take it, put it in your pocket, and then give back when you're successful, and you can come and speak to all the kids coming in. That's what I think you should do.
As the director of this overall program here at UConn, that would be my recommendation. To invest the 1,000 in yourself, and then as your business and as your goals become accomplished, then make a commitment to come back and talk to us.
Good job.
Okay.
And just so you know, I am a man of my word because I did tell Mike already that I was going to do that, so I wasn't just doing that for my presentation.
I understand.
Okay, I was.
No, I
Okay,
figured,
that was.
Mike, you changed your
I
mind.
figured you were doing it.
Okay, I was like, that was not a
If
ploy.
you change your mind, I'll tell Mike it's okay.
That was not a ploy or a plug.
No, I get that.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you want me to leave my PowerPoint here or can I delete this off of here?
I don't know what we're doing.
I can handle all the IT stuff. They
Okay.
tell me what to do, sort of.
Okay. Thank you again.
Yeah, take care. See you tonight.
Okay, so there's only one more.
Hard to do the relative. It's so hard to evaluate totally different industries.
I think Steven's up next.
I'm gonna check the schedule.
He already went.
Oh, you already went?
Yeah, he already went.
Mike's up next.
Hmm. We got one more?
Two more, I think.
I thought we only had 5, we got 6.
Oh, then people go out of order, maybe?
We've had 4.
And Sean was number 4, yeah.
Alright, so we have Mike coming in.
Mike and then Daniel after that.
Yep.
Do you know which one Mike's was? I couldn't.
I don't know. He's
Maybe
number
this
5.
3.
No, he's
Or this
number
5.
5. He's number 5.
Are you both here tonight?
I am not. I am.
This is information.
For the gentleman.
Are you IT security?
Yeah.
I can handle it if you
Oh,
want. So,
okay,
yeah.
sure.
That's what Mike sent me in here for. So.
Oh, okay.
Right, you guys get be bored with another. Something else.
I got my suit, but in good shape. I was grumpy before.
I was, I got some caffeine in my thing. It's Dixie cups.
What's the time after?
You are so lucky to get us after we've been dirty.
Yeah.
You got coffee.
We were before, right?
Oh, we were really, we tore them up. Right?
Is this just gonna be manual?
I could do it for you. You can do it yourself. What would you like to do?
I don't care. If
can
you
just
wanna
kinda
go,
Point at me. I'll switch it whenever you want.
are you
It's
only
better
staying
for
here to
us.
do that?
Well,
yeah, I'm not.
It's better for us, I think. I can speak for the
If
group.
he does it?
If he does it and you're not walking across
Yeah.
the street.
It's
Just
much
kinda-
better if he does.
Gesture or whatever, and I'll switch the sides for you.
Okay. All right, cool.
Besides, that's why I'm paying in the big butt.
Yeah, right. Can you just go back one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
He wishes, isn't it?
Big course credits.
Oh.
All right, you guys ready?
Mhm.
All right, my name is Mike Reardon, and the company that I'm starting is called Semperfi Information Security, and it's going to be focused on providing information security services to small and medium businesses. Okay, my first screen here. How many of you in your web browser have ran into this before? Site down, right? Nobody wants to see this, right? You go to a company's site, you see the site down, what are you thinking? Not again? Why isn't this up, right? Doesn't look too good for the business. One more. Okay, good. All right, so the core concept of my company is going to be targeting small, medium businesses. It's coming to a point now where small, medium businesses are experiencing the same type of attacks that used to be only born in larger organizations. Have some facts up here. 87% of small, medium businesses had a security breach in 2013. That's up 76% from 2012. 45 of the incidents were addressed by the actual owner of the company, a family member, or a friend, not an information security expert. And with that, I want to tell you guys a quick story. Was working for a consulting company, and it was 4 o'clock on Friday, just about getting ready to walk out the door, and the phone rings. And my boss comes over and says, "Hey, Mike, ABC company has a real issue. It's down. It's something major. You know, would you mind going out and taking care of this?" So I said, "Sure, I'll go take care of it." So I arrived on site, and what ended up happening when I got there was I found the owner was just about in tears. His server for the company, which hosted the email, was down. The services would not start up, and this particular company was dependent on email for everything they did. And apparently the server had actually been down for about 2 days, and he didn't pick up the phone. And I asked him, explain to me what happened here, what was going on prior when the email was working to now. And he really wasn't, he seemed like he was being short. He really wasn't getting to the point.
And he basically was telling me, oh, I just found it like this. I found the server like this. And I was like, that doesn't really sound 100%, what's going on here. I'm thinking in my head because of where the system was at. So anyway, he ends up finally telling me that, he tried fixing it himself. He was trying to Google stuff, follow directions, and basically what ended up happening was he made it even worse by trying to do it himself. So I ended up working on it, and it took me probably about 8 hours. And the company I was working for at the time, once we were into, off business hours, you're looking at paying time and a half instead of, straight time. And I ended up getting the server back up and running for them, and everything was good to go. They had a big day the next day on Saturday. It was an accounting firm, and it was during tax season. And, the moral of the story here is that had he never touched the system himself, I probably could have got it back up for him in probably, about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe he would have been billed for an hour. But by him trying to address, it's part of the system that he had no expertise in, he ended up costing himself a whole lot more money. Okay, so 18% of targeted attacks are aimed at companies nowadays with 250 employees or less. Okay, so that's going to be in the SMB market. 66% of SMBs are dependent on the internet for business now. Okay, that wasn't the case, 10 years ago. And I'm not going to go through every stat. I'll just read off the last one. So 45% of small businesses do not provide internet safety training to their employees. And you're probably thinking, yeah, that sounds about right, because one, they don't have the expertise, and two, they don't have a lot of money to bring in training companies like the big companies do. Okay, so the product or service that I'm going to be offering is IT consulting. Again, I'm going to focus on the small to medium businesses. My forte, my specialty is ethical hacking and penetration testing. So basically, I'm acting as the hacker, trying to get into the company to see what I can compromise, see what risks they have out there. I'm going to offer a full suite of information security services for medium-sized businesses, When I say a full suite, what I'm talking about is, from the bottom up, policies, procedures, network security, physical security. And the reason why I said medium-sized businesses is because there is some truth to the fact that a small company is not going to want to pay me to come in and do, what larger companies are going to pay you for, because they just can't afford it. They don't have the money. They're going to want the basics. They're going to want, do I have a firewall? Is my network protected? Do I have any virus, etc.? What I'm trying to bring to companies, to my clients, is reduce their downtime and increase their productivity. Obviously, if a machine gets infected with a virus, that person can't work. They're not going to be productive. I'm going to be representing or providing value-added services to bring up the return on investment for companies. This is real quick, just kind of a map of the security assessment where you're doing the penetration testing and you're looking at all facets of the business, because nowadays you're talking phones, you're talking wireless, you're talking systems, you're talking servers, you're talking everything. My target market is actually going to be right here. It's going to be the Hartford, Connecticut metro area. This is where I'm located, and this is where I'm going to go after clients. Just a little fact, SMBs last year, on average, spent $400,000 a year for security. Obviously, that's probably going to be more on the medium-sized company, because that's a pretty big chunk of change to spend on security. What it does show you, though, is that there is a market out there for the service, expected to increase by 178% this year, because the impacts, the small and medium businesses are getting impacted nowadays just as much as the big companies. My strategy: there are many IT service providers out there, okay? And I understand that. I don't have a product that nobody's seen before. I don't have any, great magic dust that's going to be something brand new. And I realize that. one of the ways I'm going to leverage what I have is that typically the service providers that take care of small to medium businesses are more the hardware guys, the guys that deal with desktops, more of the end user spectrum of services. So they typically don't have the expertise, training, certification, the security background that I have. And what I'm going to be able to do with that is that everything I take care of for them, from the top to the bottom, I'm always going to have security integrated into those solutions. As a caveat, I'm going to partner with local technology companies that provide the offerings that I don't. So that way I can refer clients to them, and hopefully they're going to refer clients back to me. Key success factor for me is going to be educating business owners about security risks. Education is key here. Quick story. I was out at a client site probably about 6 months ago, trying to sell the client a product called DLP. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, data loss prevention. Okay, basically what it is it's a system that runs on the network that will scan the network for criteria that you tell it to. It looks inside emails, and it looks at files going out through email, through the network inside of your email. And typically where you're going to see DLP systems is in companies that need to be HIPAA compliant or PCI compliant, which I'm sure you guys heard PCI, being financial guys? No?
LCC.
PCI is basically the credit card industry's standards that you got to follow when you're taking credit card transactions. So what you can program into these systems is you can program, I want to look for social security numbers. I want for any proprietary data that I have, basically client data, PHI, stuff you don't want leaving the company, and stuff you don't want people taking out of the company either. So we had gone out and we did a presentation for the client. This was probably in the middle of SMB size, about 500 users. And he had a problem with some data leaking out of his company. He had an employee that basically left the company and took all the data that he had. And he was a sales manager, so he took client lists, he took proposals, he took everything. And the owner couldn't understand how he got all this off the network. And we basically explained to him that, the solution for putting a, staff gap in place for that is DLP, because with DLP, you can basically stop someone from emailing data out. Say they're emailing data to their Yahoo account from the corporate email. It'll catch it right in its tracks. It'll stop it. You can even go further and have USB security set up with a DLP, so no one can really take data off of systems themselves, or try to, either send a file out through their outside email. So we went through the whole concept. We actually did a proof of concept for him, and he said, I just don't see the value in this at this time. And hey, that's the way it is. He didn't want to spend the money, but we did, explain the risk that he was looking at by not having us install the system, or, somebody else installing the system. Well, a couple months later, he had an IT guy that had been counseled a couple times and was on the cusp of being fired. And IT guys typically have a little bit more access than your regular end users do. What he did was he ended up taking the offer letters and the financial directory on the server with everybody's salary, took it off, put it on a USB drive, ended up getting fired, went home, had compiled an email list off of the address book of all the employees in the company, and emailed those documents out to everyone in the company. So you can imagine what was going on at that company the next day, because obviously everybody does not make the same money, even if you're in the same position. So, that was a case point in where there was a risk there. He already knew some data leaked out. The first data that left wasn't really, contingent on the company operating, but he still knew the risks, and he didn't put the solution in place, and he ended up paying for it. And obviously, it didn't cost him money. It wasn't a data breach where he had to pay all kinds of fines, but morale in the company, I can only imagine, is probably still a little bit off based on what happened. For my marketing strategy, I'm going to use social media. I'm going to use existing client referrals. I currently have a few clients prior to leaving the corporate world that I picked up years ago that I would take care of on the side on a part-time basis. So I've got that going where I can use them as referrals either to some of their clients that need my help or use them as a reference client. Also, networking is huge. I have, the Veterans Network that I can tap, the Connecticut Chamber of Commerce, the new Veterans Chamber of Commerce that Mike set up, and the field contacts that I've built over the last 18 years. I've got contacts from, the lowest guy in the totem pole all the way up to, CEOs and business owners. I'm going to offer out free initial assessments or audits to clients that, I can talk to, basically to do site assessments, take a look at their technology, take a look at their security posture, and then what I'll do is I'll prepare a, small report for them with my findings, obviously not telling them how to fix them because, they can just walk out and grab somebody else for less money if they can find them. And then pitch them to come in and take care of those risks for them and, kind of go into more detail and explain what these risks can possibly do to their business. Planning to hold lunch and learns for business owners in the SMB community. That way I can do high level security type of basically seminars, kind of educating them on the risks of what's out there. Depending on their industry, do they have client data they need to protect, basic stuff like that. Also doing, seminars. And something I want to highlight for my company is from a publicity standpoint, I'm currently working with my old high school in East Hartford with the principal there to set up an IT training program for some of the students that are interested in IT. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to give these guys a good foundation for either getting directly into the field by getting some certifications or possibly going on to school afterwards. Part of what I want to do with the company, obviously, is to give back. I took my training to be a service officer for disabled veterans. I just have to go take the exam from the VA now. So that's something I also want to do on the side, basically on a volunteer basis. So veterans don't have to go pay a lawyer 20% on their claims. That's something else that I'm looking at doing.
Just watch your time.
For the economic model, I don't have 100% numbers. I've only been doing this business part-time. So all I can represent right now is what I've been doing. And basically what my rate has been is $125 an hour. I'm looking at $50 an hour for the cost of labor, and then adding another $25 an hour on for expenses, mileage, gas, that type of stuff. And I'm looking at after that would be when I hire additional employees on, paying them the $50 an hour, which is kind of the industry standard for this type of work, which would leave me with a net profit of $50 an hour per billable hour. My fixed costs right now are really low. They're going to be under $1,000 a year. I'm looking at paying for a website, email hosting, those type of fees. I'm running the company out of my house. I want to go lean. I'm not taking, any big jumps here because I want to make sure I get the business going. Variable costs really is just going to be expenses. It's me and a computer to go out to the sites here. I don't need anything else than that. Operations, basically, I'll be doing everything. It's just me. So sales, pre-sales, assessments, audits, security classes, doing any type of, proposals, new installations. My operational risks right now are really labor related. And that's because, I'm going to have to balance the workload and hiring, because obviously I don't want to grow too quick because I don't have any resources I can tap right now because I can't afford to hire another engineer. I also want to grow. So that's really something I'm going to need to look out for. As far as financials, again, I'm just starting the company in a full-time manner, so I don't have true financials to lay out. I did bring in over the last 3 years, about $10,000 as an average, billing the 3 clients that I take care of now. Working capital is going to come from my current clients and what I'm billing them, and then from my own money if I need to put it in. Again, I'm not looking for any funding at this point. I can run the business off of my own money. It doesn't take much. Management, it's me. I'm the guy. I do everything, obviously, because no one else is in the company. As far as my credentials in the security field, I have tons of certifications I've earned over the years. These are just a representation of some of the more important ones for the security field. To show that, not only can I talk a game, but I obviously have the knowledge for it. And then I have about 18 years of consulting experience in the field. I was primarily in Fortune 500 companies, GE, UTC, Harvard, Aetna, Cigna, Mass Mutual. So I think I'll really be able to leverage that enterprise experience and bring it to small, medium businesses that maybe wouldn't get that type of service from another company that doesn't have the same background. And as far as education goes, I have my business degree, a bachelor's degree, so I have a decent foundation as far as education goes. That's it.
You were an IT consultant to those companies?
Correct.
For those companies?
Correct.
Who did you work for when you were an IT consultant to those companies?
I worked for Vanstar, Alpine, Micros to mainframes, command systems, international network.
And that's cool. I was just wondering if it was you were doing it yourself or.
No, it was through consulting companies.
So organizationally, are you an LLC?
Yes, I am.
What is your goal down the road?
My goal down the road,
3 to 5 years from now, what do you want for this?
I would like to grow the company. I'd like to be able to hire on more people. Obviously, at some point, get an office. Be able to grow, and bring in enough income to really do some of the side projects I really want to take care of on the side.
What would it take in order to do that?
To do that, it's going to take a lot of footwork. It's going to take a lot of me hitting the street and my contacts, really getting out there, doing a lot of public type of stuff, like with the lunch and learns, getting my name out on the street, start leveraging existing clients and more clients that I get, so I can get referrals from them, and basically, proving myself to any new clients that I bring in, to show them what I can, do for them.
Are you currently employed?
No. I left the corporate world a couple months ago and decided that I did not want to go back.
Good for you. Good presentation.
So you have 3 clients that you're working with now. How are you prospecting for additional clients?
What I'm trying to do at this point is leverage my connections, Obviously, you know, I've been in a lot of different companies, worked for a lot of different companies, so
I gathered from the list,
yeah, I have a ton of connections. You know, right now, what I'm doing is I'm getting kind of the word out on the street that I'm out on my own and that I'm looking for clients, and I've already got a lot of engineers lined up that are like, once you get going, they hire me on. You know, I'm pretty good at the people aspect of things. So a lot of people I've ran into want to do business with me. Really, I'm going to attack this full time once I get out of this program. What I kind of did over the summer was decided to spend it with my kids because I was away a lot, you know, as they were growing up. So I wanted to take a few months to just be home with the kids and take care of them. So obviously they went back not too long ago. So it's going to be full bore once I get out of here.
I know you said that the Hartford metro area would be your target market, but would it be easy or hard for you to go, I mean, maybe outside of the Hartford area, the general, the overall Connecticut area, and the tri-state area maybe?
What I'm going to be targeting the Hartford metro area first, but I'm probably looking at, you know, going into the Mass markets, the New York markets. Typically, I'm going to try to focus on some of the models that consulting companies I work for use, because I used to go on the road to New York at Mass, and I know there's a lot of companies in the Connecticut area that have ties to, you know, either have other offices in New York or Massachusetts. So what my goal is to kind of start in Hartford because I live right in Bolton, so this is the closest area, and then kind of move out. So if things dry up here, yeah, I'll start hitting all the other markets. And obviously, you know, down in Stamford, down that way, there's a lot of clients down that way. So that would probably be the next area. You know, when I say Hartford, you know, I'm talking about Talon County, Hartford County, Middlesex County. I actually picked up a new client from the class already here. And I've got a meeting with one of the presenters, Scott, who's actually one of the judges today, next week. So, because he's got some friends that do similar work that I do that he wants to hook me up with. So,
yeah, I was wondering, is there someone in this space that you could partner with that is making a client call and you could be an add-on piece to what they're doing? Or does that create problems?
It creates problems usually. I mean, where I really have to leverage myself, and I forgot to mention too. I did have a company before in the early 2000s that I had for a couple of years. I was not savvy with finances back then, and since I've gone to business school, and I couldn't keep the business going because I was not taking care of my books the way I should have been doing. Yeah, one of the things I did back then, which is what I want to do now, is, and I still have some contacts out there of guys that I will refer the clients I have now to, is try to find companies that are similar to me but don't provide the services I do, or maybe don't have the deep expertise that I do. So that way, if they run into issues, if they have backflow on work that they need taken care of, I can do that. That's always a great thing, like partnering with a wiring company, for instance. That way, if you have clients that ever need wiring done, you can take care of that. You know, and they can refer you, partnering with IT companies, maybe again, that don't provide the same services I do. Partnering with companies that specialize in like the voice over IP, the VoIP phones, because that's something I don't do. There's a lot of companies that focus on just that, you know, the telecommunications aspect. So that's definitely a route I'm going to be taking.
Are you engaged in mobile to non-mobile interfaces with companies? Are you in both spaces?
The mobile space? Yes.
And what happens if you have built up a client base and more than one has a crisis at a particular moment, Maybe you're the sole person there.
That's always a great question, because that's always in the back of the mind for an IT person when they're going out on their own. And all I can say is that, if that does happen to come up before I have somebody else on, I'm gonna have to, try to handle it the best I can. I actually did have that happen one time before, and my brother is in the field, so I called my brother up and had him go out to the client. The good thing is that typically clients understand that sometimes you're not going to be able to get there in an hour. So maybe it's 4-hour response time. So typically I would probably try to tap somebody else in my network, maybe somebody that works full time, but gets out at 3 or 4 o'clock. Until I can get the extra labor.
Is there a critical mass point where you can start hiring? Like, what's the number of clients that you need before?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much the number of clients for me. I think it's going to be what I have in the bank, what I have for working capital. I already, have a business account for these clients that I've been taking care of, so I do have a decent amount in the bank, nothing crazy, but I think it's more of, a cash flow type of deal. I would think, and basically what I'm doing too is that at this point right now, where I'm at financially, I don't need to take a salary. I don't need to touch any of the money that I'm generating from this business. So basically, I'm just going to take anything that's, left over after expenses and just put it in the bank. So for me, I think it would probably be a magic number of what I've got for cash flow. That's something I'm going to have to think about, though, because I don't have a magic number right now. Because the problem, too, is that sometimes you can get consultants that are willing to come on and take a higher rate, with no benefits. And sometimes you can't get that because a lot of people like the stability, obviously, of a bigger company. So that's going to be something I have to look into now rather than later, is, looking at what it's going to cost me to provide benefit packages and figuring out, obviously, I'm going to have to pay in Social Security and taxes.
Since you're doing consulting work, but couldn't they be on technically as kind of like contract?
Yeah, and again, you will find some people that are willing to do that, especially, I think right now, the way the market is. I mean, the market's pretty good, right? It's not great, but it's pretty good, but there are a lot of guys out there that look for contract opportunities. And now versus, back in the early 2000s, there are so many more resources to find engineers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be my first person that I would bring on. That's what I would try to do. I'd try to do like a 1099 for them and pay them just a higher rate with no benefits. And there are a lot of engineers out there that, maybe their wife has the health benefits package from her work, so he doesn't need to worry about it, or the woman, the husband has the package. So
that's about time. So
thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's next?
Whoever's on the schedule.
Yes.
I was trying to
No,
Are you having trouble pulling people off the stage?
I was just trying to let him know he was coming up on the time.
No, I
about,
think
the
as we get to about 5 minutes,
Yeah, you got it. You went a little over. You went to like 17 or 18, I think.
yeah. Anybody else on the board? Or are we done?
One person left, I believe. I actually can check it on my phone. I took a picture of the schedule.
Looks like Daniel Wiley's the last one by.
Right.
I'll just see if I can find him, I guess.
Yeah. Whew.
Sentiments exactly.
There's only one of the halfway light tonight. The one guy, our number 3 guy, yeah.
Solar panel?
Yeah. I thought
One
his
is,
was probably the best.
I think he stands out for innovation.
That was what I was
Stands
thinking.
out the most, where he gave
I thought he
the best
stood out from
presenter.
everything.
Yeah.
He was sort of,
Yeah, actually, it's both. He's the best, definitely the best presenter.
he was the
most
best
popular.
presentation.
Yeah.
All the rest have got major flaws.
Hey guys.
Right.
Do you have your PowerPoint on that, or?
No, it should be on there.
5 here, and there's been 5 people so far.
I know he uploaded it today.
Maybe it's just in a different folder or something. I think it's
It was named Compass Riley on it.
Compass, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a real quick bathroom break.
Oh yeah, minor IT problems there.
Either that or I'm getting distracted.
Do you know what computer it was on originally, or was it on your laptop, or?
It was on a thumb drive and he uploaded it here.
Like, Mike had the thumb drive?
No, the big RT guy.
Oh, Chris, I think, or?
I can't remember. He was tall, I don't know.
I think
He was in
Chris.
405 now, I think.
We might have to go see if we can find that USB
There's
drive.
nothing on the desktop or anything either?
I'll check the desktop too. It could be, I guess, but yeah, I don't see it. It's, all the other ones had it all set up, like they were already all open. It only has 5 PowerPoints for some reason. I'll go see if I can find season 4 or 5, you said?
Yeah.
Looking for the presentation still?
Oh, yeah. MIA. Yeah.
Yeah. Struggling myself.
Let's check this out.
Okay, so where was the other person who was in here? She had to leave?
It was named Compass Riley.
Is it the blue one?
No.
Were you looking here earlier?
I don't know where.
Okay,
it was
let
on
me
the
see.
desktop or not.
That's not you, right?
No.
There it is.
There it is. Okay. So let me share the screen here. Okay, the screen is shared. Got that. Got this. Okay, you should be good to go. I think, yeah, I think it's sharing on the screen right now because that's what we see here. All right, cool. Good luck, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, you got it.
You're good. You're good. You got a good one.
Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Let's do this. UIT? No. We had a couple of those. That's why I just.
He's gonna get up and walk out. You're IT.
You're not IT, are you?
All right, we're out.
We love IT.
My bread and butter.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity and the time you've taken on your day to hear me out. So how many of you know a person that's dedicated to a particular cause? How many of you know someone who's donated to a charity or a nonprofit organization? My name is Daniel Riley. I'm the owner of Encompass Consulting Group, a group that is committed and specializes in nonprofit association management and organizational management. When you hear the words charitable donation or nonprofit organization, or even membership dues, some questions begin to arise. Like, where's that money going? Is it a good cause? Are they doing what they say they're doing with those funds? So nonprofits face all types of various obstacles annually, to include funding constraints, financial vulnerabilities, unethical decisions, large turnover rates, and especially the lack of effective operational management. Most nonprofits are not able to afford the hefty fees associated with traditional consulting firms to assist them with their mission. Encompass provides an affordable and high-impact service for all nonprofits. Our policies and procedures will allow you to streamline your organization's way of doing business while providing a more tangible benefit to the members in which that organization serves. You're waiting on grants to fund your organization? We have access to partners and avenues for your organization to earn residual income month after month, which assists nonprofits in their budgeting. We have aligned with various integrity-driven industries, which will provide your organization with a revenue stream, thus alleviating initial high out-of-pocket costs for nonprofits. So just to reiterate, that our partners will help fund me and your organization without taking that big chunk of money out of your pocket. We do this through an 8-point process. The concept is developed from a compass, which has 8 principal points, with each point providing direction. The E is synonymous with power, especially in regards to spirituality. The process could be summarized in 3 phases: evaluate, empower, and execute. Evaluate. You begin by addressing and asking the organization, what are your needs and what are your concerns? We want to know what their mission is. We want to know what they need to accomplish. Some organizations are a little reluctant or they're unsure of what their needs are. We have a solution. We have a comprehensive signature survey that we give out. Once that survey is completed, we go over the results and sit down and help that organization prioritize what their areas of concern are. We ask them after, how much does it mean to you to address these concerns? Would you be willing to pay for that service? If an agreement is reached, we begin to gather our information from our clients and complete an analytical assessment. We educate and implement our standard operating procedures. We begin to eradicate or trim the fat and get rid of the things that they don't need in that organization or are not required. Empower. We establish or reestablish roles and responsibilities for everyone in the organization to include volunteers, members, employees, and even their board of directors. We place the focus on what the organization's mission is all about. After we engage with them, we keep moving down the process and ensuring that they have a fine understanding of their fiduciary responsibility. Execute. We now put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Everything that we've showed them with our standard operating procedures and all of our revenue streams come together. We help them employ that into their everyday business practices while still watching out for the efficiency. And once again, they could go through the whole cycle again, evaluate it. So we're on a continuous path for improvement constantly. So you probably, my marketing strategy would be to initially start with the nonprofits in the state of Connecticut. I have a strong foothold in the Veteran Service Organization and the Prevention and Department of Mental Health organizations. My initial investment would be $5,000. So I would have to work 43 hours a month to initially pay that off or to make a profit. If I broke it down hourly, $9.50 of that would go to my initial investment, and $10.50 would go to me in reinvesting that funds back into the business. The reason why that initial cost is so low or that fee is so low is I'm just going to be starting out. I plan on bootstrapping for the most part, so I'll have to work and try and drum up some funds for that. So you're probably wondering why me, like, what are you doing here? Why are you a professional at this? Well, I have over 7 years of experience in executive levels on nonprofit boards. I currently serve on a national level board that serves over 500,000 veteran and military people currently still. Excuse me. I just finished up being a president last year of a state chapter, and I just didn't hold these positions. On the state level, we increased our membership by 30% and our revenues by 10% in a 2-year span. On the national level, the first year I was able to help cut costs for $120,000 and establish membership outreach programs to increase our membership numbers. I've also worked with various community nonprofit groups, and once again, I've actually done a stint with the military and their counter drug unit, which embedded us in a regional prevention councils. So I'm not here today just to ask for a financial investment. I'm here to ask for an investment of your soul. I want to be able to display or get involved in the mission. I want to not just be someone you just hire. I want to be part of the family. I want to be part of that team. I know what it's like to be at that ground level and make things happen. So please join me in my historical campaign. I'm Dan Riley, and I want to help organizations reach and achieve and make their difference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So my question is, so you're doing consulting work for the nonprofits?
Yeah. Specific.
Would the nonprofits be the ones seeking you out, or would the donors to the nonprofits be the ones seeking you out?
I would probably seek out. So, like I said, I had a foothold in the organizations. What I would do to my marketing strategy was send out, if I needed to really find some people right off the bat, send out that survey for everyone just to see what my target market is. But like I said, I have a foothold with the 2 baseline organizations in Connecticut and actually throughout the country. But like I said, I would start in Connecticut first.
Oh.
Did I answer that or not?
Is there a reason why you're not telling us where your experience is with them?
The Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States. That's a national organization. I just finished the presidency for the National Guard Association of Connecticut.
Is that the American Legion type thing?
American Legion, yeah. Worked with them as well.
And you increased membership 30%?
30% first year.
You should go around and you should do that for your business. Because all of those organizations.
Well, it's a process, not just one thing. There's a multitude of effects that affect those nonprofits. Because when I got on, it was a very dysfunctional board. It was almost like a social club. So we try and bring that business mindset into that. Because a lot of people say, oh, we're not here to make a profit. Well, actually you are. You're there to serve the organization, its members. So if you can't turn a profit, let's give something back to the community or the mission that we're trying to serve here. Whether it's passing legislation or.
So my understanding your business model, right? Like you would go into a VFW as a consultant to try to increase membership?
Increase membership and revenue streams and just ways to make things easier. I align with, over the years, I have a clientele or a friendship list, I should say, a corporate membership list that I have. And I mean, these companies have pretty much told me, and they've done it true to form. They've donated money. They said if they believe in that cause and it's easy to do, they'll donate money to that organization. Right. So usually, typically with nonprofits, they either don't have the funds, or they don't have the website capabilities running. So it's very difficult for those big organizations to donate any money to them. But once they get that money, they got to be able to make sure. So I'll give another example. One of the organizations I ran had golf events, retirees picnics. They weren't even budgeting to the price per person, how to pay off their overhead. They just established the price and they said, oh, that sounds good. So they were losing money continuously. So we made sure, I met a lot of resistance when I had all these new ideas, but we made sure we went up on price, and we're actually covering our costs the first year just to break even. But we had astronomical turnout of events on each one of our events. Our annual conference, we've had speakers like the governor, lieutenant governor, all there.
Is that one of the main ways you're increasing your membership is by just getting new public outreach and having events, getting people to be more involved and stuff?
Public outreach, an easy way to join. Everybody's on their cell phones now. We have an app developed for a lot of these organizations where people can join, or actually understand the cost.
It's interesting to me because I'm a member of the VFW. I'm a trustee of the VFW in Westport, 400 members. I'm an American Legion member. I'm a Catholic War veteran member, and I'm a submarine veteran member. All of those organizations need someone like you. The light bulb just went off. Like these guys, like Catholic War veterans, the VFW, they're getting so old. The younger generation is. I'm the youngest guy in the organization by 50 years. It's real. And I've tried to go and say, let me, if we spend a couple $1,000 and get a website, guys, put a Facebook page up, some guy to do it, we'll get the younger generation to go out and they all say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to spend that. We have 100,000 in the bank. We don't want to spend and I'm like, there's 400 members. And the average age is 95 people. I mean, but that's not a joke. Well, I'm serious. I belong to.
Well, when I first came out on that, I mean, it was, and nothing. I mean, other great experience.
So I think you have a good niche. Getting them to open up their pocketbook is, and how long is the engagement going to be? And it's going to be. There's most of these old timers are like Depression era kids. Abstinence pictures, and I think you have something here. For real, because I see it firsthand, and I couldn't make any progress in my posts as a volunteer. Yeah, and I can't charge as a volunteer. I don't have time to build or knowledge to build a website or do outreach.
Yeah, and I spent a ton of. I didn't just walk in. I know in a year, I was a year as president. I was involved, and I was watching how this process was going for a while. And I always try to look out and find out, what's out there for someone to talk to us. How can we make this better? Yeah. But there really wasn't. So then it finally dawned on me. I'm like, I'm pretty good at doing this and making relationships and making things happen, getting people to join. And I only know, I'm only as good. I may not be that old, but I'm not a spring chicken. So I know sometimes I'm out of touch with the person down there. So I bring people in that are in touch with people or on that ground level. Because you got to know what their concerns are, right?
Just a word of advice. What maybe you should do is go to DC and talk to the national level of the VFW and the American Legion and the Catholic War veterans.
That's excellent.
Because the posts are stingy. But if there's some sort of a mandate, or at least like say, let me demo this out with 5 posts that are losing memberships or dying 10% a month. Let me show you how it works. I'll give you a good deal on it. And if I know your results, you let me blanket it out. But I would start with those organizations that are just weird. So you got to start at the top, and you get the old timers pushed down to contract you. That's what I would do. I think it's a good idea.
Like I said, that fee is low, but different avenue streams. I have a company that they'll do advertising on a website,
depending on however much they get, they'll donate portions to the charity, and that's where some of my revenue will come from as well. We implemented one in the national level in March, and we've already made 75,000.
So how wide a nonprofit base are you looking at? We've talked about military related. Well,
So the regional action councils and the prevention agencies, I'm very familiar with that like I said, state level and a national level. I work with organizations like CATA and Communities Against Drugs. So there's my other niche. I basically would be using the veterans and those organizations to establish credibility. And once I establish a little more credibility, I can figure out different ways to, once again, keep that cost low for the nonprofit so they're allowed to complete their mission and I can still make a living out of it.
One other piece of advice is for me, maybe it's because you're the last presentation of the day, but I had no idea what you were doing with your business until like a good 7 to 10 minutes into it. Like, it might be because my brain's a little foggy and I didn't get good sleep last night, but I think maybe the other judges could kind of tell me I'm wrong, but maybe if you redo next time you actually present to someone who really matters, look at have somebody really look at your presentation and make sure your mission statement and you're a little more specific. I think maybe it's the word.
well, the finance model isn't there. There was a lot of detail that wasn't present that normally we look at if we were going to be funding you or giving you a grant. A bit more of a real business plan layout kind of thing.
Yeah, and actually leading up to it, I kind of have my 1 year, my 5 year going, but right now I was going to try and do it as a prospect if I could. The 5,000 initial would be for like the website, phone, stuff like that. Just travel, probably like fuel. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, it was very low key. Is this going to be a full-time business for you, or is this just
I'd like to build it up
part-time kind of thing?
like I said, I'd like to really like to build it up to be that full-time.
So my question is, so consulting for them, so XYZ not-for-profit that is experiencing XYZ trouble, you can, anything that any nonprofit issue, you can solve it? Is that I guess my question is what consulting expertise do you have? So I get that you're targeting nonprofit organizations, but a nonprofit organization can have a slew of different problems. Like what specifically would you be able to help them out with?
Agreed. I would be able to do that. I have a logistics background in the military as well. But when I get into typically all the nonprofits have most of the same type of issues. They either have no strategic plan, so there's no continuity when somebody leaves, or if they just get tired and they resign off a board, a person replaces them and they start over again. So I established like boilerplate templates to let them know what they do in the situation, who's taking over, establish once again 2 roles and responsibilities, travel SOPs, so when people go to conferences or if they go set up an event, this is what you need to do. If you have expenses, they need to report it here and there or after 5 days. There's just a little, there's minutiae details involved in it, but they don't have to think of it. I can just kind of put their name in there just to get them established for the organizational management part.
Is there a size nonprofit that, like, what it can be anything from Joe Schmo's non-for-profit that I started in my backyard to, the Harper Foundation or something?
I'm assuming he's talking about really small nonprofit organizations in general, or ones that don't have large national entities.
Small chapters.
Yeah, and that's one of
which is surprising to me that the VFW is more structured than what it happens to be other than the social.
Well, I'll be honest with you. One of the organizations they were there for 30 years. And it was military, like active military, and there was nothing in place. And I said, like, you guys are operating like this for this long, So
I got a letter from the Catholic War Veterans National Post last week, and it said basically we're asking for our last donations because our organization is
closing.
Basically, they said we're going to maybe have to give our assets to another more active organization, such as VFW, or the American Legion. And like, I got this, I'm like, so am I going to donate $250? They're asking for to this organization that's like defunct, and nobody wants to listen. And that's the challenge you're going to have with dealing with the military organizations or the old timers.
Well, and that's, they had an issue, they shut down for like almost a year.
Yeah, I didn't even know they were back. Yeah, so you know.
And there's all types of, I mean, the bylaws, if you're updating that, there's a process with that, filing with the IRS, just doing the things that, because everyone has the passion, they want to help out in a good cause, but they don't have that business set. You know, they don't know what to do, how to bring that to the next level, and that's where I come in.
Yeah, for membership, there's a whole group of the Vietnam vets. You know, when they came back from Vietnam, the VFW was hugely powerful and populated because they're all World War II vets. And the World War II vets didn't like the Vietnam vets, as a general rule. And it was a big, huge thing. They're like, you weren't in a real war. We were in World War II. You were just in Vietnam. And so there's so many Vietnam vets that are like, screw the VFW. They didn't want us joining up. It was those old dogs from the World War II. So there's a big gap of demographic in the VFW. And then, of course, young kids like us coming back from whatever we did, why are we going to go sit down with a bunch of 90-year-old men, other than the Budweisers are $1.50 or $50? That's not, you know. So it's a real challenge if you could find that niche and figure out how to get paid.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You gotta get paid. You're not a non-profit.
Yeah,
I like that idea. World War II back. Yeah. And you know, every month my newsletter says we lost Ronnie and Joey and Bill. Like, at the rate we're going, guys, I said it to them. I said it to a room full. Like, the rate we're going is going to be just me. We got to find the kids coming back.
By replacements.
we have established some things that we were successful on too on a national level as well. Establishing a panel of the older vets and having them go, you know, ask them about their experiences. I mean, things change, but the problems still stay the same, especially in the military standpoint.
Those organizations need to be have strategies better than just, you know, bingo, and cheap booze. They need to do more outreach, and you know.
And trust me, it was such a challenge because I kept telling everybody, I said, listen, people aren't going to mind. If you're focused on the mission and you have a draw, people will pay to come. They want to be part of something bigger. But you can't just, I mean, like you said, people are strapped as it is. No one, you know, they have families, a lot going on in life. Nobody wants to take time just to play, you know, bingo or something like that. There's got to be some kind of.
Every meeting I went to for like my first year in the VFW was a total bitch session between these 85-year-old men just complaining. And I was like, why am I here? I'm trying to do something cool and get involved and help out.
And there's the parliamentary procedure keeping people up to that.
I leave with a headache every time, and it drained my energy to listen to them complain.
It's funny how it's all the same, right?
It's crazy.
Everywhere I go, I ended up bringing him on the board. He's now the vice president. So.
Really?
Yeah, for the state of Connecticut.
Are you into the VFW too?
Yeah.
The Legion?
Yeah. A bunch of them. Very passionate about that. And like I said, it's not just military. It's just when I've done that work in the prevention, and it was just it was eye opening. Kind of curtailed me too to deal with people that were not in the military.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we need to have a meeting tomorrow.
Crack my brain open here.
Ooh, it's this year. Check our front door, make sure it's closed.
No one's sneaking around waiting. There
It seems like this year was a little tougher.
So I think,
Huh?
I think I'm gonna fetch from the last round of investigation. The other.
Okay.
The door's closed?
Yeah, I'll post on the way out.
Like, I had no idea what his business was. I said, what is it?
Yeah. I still don't really know what consulting, what does that mean?
I know, you hit the knock me on the head. You do everything soup to nuts.
I mean, it's, you could have like membership issues, you can have like governance issues, you can have like issues with actually serving or meeting whatever mission that you've been given. I mean, there's a million different oh boy, things that, boy, consulting IT, huh? Yeah. IT consulting.
Thermal. Put this one aside. Thermal. All right. Presentation.
So as it stands for me,
Yeah, tell us where you are.
for me, Steven from the solar,
Yeah,
he actually would, I mean, I don't know if we want to, we probably don't want to do this, but he would win both.
Yeah.
Of
They
them
won't let
for
us
me.
do that.
they won't let us.
I
do
know,
that.
but that's what I'm saying.
So if you had to pick one,
So I'm thinking Daniel's my other guy.
yeah.
The guy
wait,
with the lead, at least I had mediocre all the way.
This guy?
through.
Daniel,
Not this one, the other one.
the first guy is
David Alger.
Asbestos.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually in business and making money. So you know, he knew what he was talking about. I thought it was pretty he stood at a coffee cup in his hand.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna kill him on that. At least his slides were
yeah.
somewhat organized.
so wait, are you thinking him for the best presentation?
He would be, of the things I saw, my candidate for most outstanding pitch. And the innovation award would go to Steven.
Innovation kind of has to go to Steve.
Right, I think that has
Nobody
to
else
stick
is
with
innovative.
Yeah, I mean, that one was an easy one.
Yeah.
I mean, the unfortunate part is that he actually was the best.
He was also the best
Presentation.
presentation.
Yeah.
And so I was, you know, I'm really scratching my head for
Who's the other one? Yeah.
who the other one was.
I
So-
think it's got to be David for second best, if you will. Yeah, which would be
And I thought all the rest of them are just so far off from where they need to be. I don't
I
know.
mean, so how do we do this? You know, we put Stephen for best, most outstanding pitch award, and then David for innovation. David's innovative. He's got a job search company for asbestos. You know, this guy was a niche guy. You want to say he's the most innovative? And, you know, what's higher? You know, what's more important? It's the same amount of money, right?
I think it's the same for both.
Okay. I have it.
I mean, I think we.
I mean, is there anybody else besides David that would be a candidate?
What was his name? From
For anything?
so you guys didn't like Quincy, I'm assuming.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's the most innovative, and I wouldn't say he was the most outstanding pitch.
Sean had
Quincy's relying on his day job
his credentials, yeah.
to create this other job. He hasn't really sorted out what he needs to do in order to launch a business.
I think he would approach like a daycare or a small private school first before going.
I mean,
to
he's emotionally
superintendent school and get a couple jobs under his belt. I think he can do it.
I mean, if I was going to do enthusiasm, Quincy might fall under enthusiasm award.
I thought Steven was the most enthusiastic.
Unfortunately, I actually don't believe in Quincy's.
I don't think there's a lot of likelihood for him to go anywhere with it.
Feasibility is part of it, you know.
If I'm a superintendent or a board member for a school, why do I need a high-tech security cameras at my school if at the end of the day it's just routing it to a police department that's however many miles away? Like, what is the difference?
Well, where's the value at?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, what good is that doing?
No,
you
you're right.
still need someone to come if there is
Well,
a threat.
I mean, with Quincy, we know we're going to get high quality cameras.
But
But
is that,
I mean, but
is that helpful?
lockdown systems and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked about the need for that, but
But the funny
it
part,
didn't. I
the
don't
funny part about it is that he put up a slide. He had the number of like school incidents. Directly after, he put up one slide that said there would be 57 some million kids going to school next year or something like that, or
Right.
next year. And then the next slide, he had like years of incidents at schools, and it was like in the 50s, like 30. So there's really 30 incidents in an entire year that were reported out of 57 million. Yeah, that is like, why would I even care about this? That is like a rounding error.
Yeah.
Yeah. This cause if you're trying to make like a huge thing.
You're totally right. I remember seeing that.
I'm like,
So-
you probably should put those two slides next to each other. Because anybody who's thinking about this wrestling, like, you just told me that this doesn't matter, man.
Yeah. So, Stephen, where should we put him? I think we can all kind of agree on Stephen.
Well, yeah, so I'm gonna look up to see if there's a
I
difference.
think they're all 1,500, I think.
Let me go take a peek. I may have
Oh, wait, I have it right
I
here.
may have it somewhere. There was an email.
Yeah, I printed it.
Yeah, that's all 15.
Each award 1,500.
All right, business pitch awards.
Oh, gosh. Number 2 is the hard one.
All right, so
So we need one
innovation.
one sheet for the three of us, right?
There's 4 innovation awards, and there's 4 best business pitches, and they're all 1,500.
Yeah. So for our panel, we gotta pick 2. So one.
Well, see, I would give maybe David the business pitch and the innovation to Stephen.
I think I would agree with that. And it's not.
And it's not that Stephen doesn't deserve both of them.
Yeah,
It's
right,
just
yeah,
he
that's the
can't do
problem.
it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
I mean, those are the only 2 that I
What
thought
did you guys
even
think of-
had a clue as to what they were really.
Sean was kind of okay on his
The
pick.
kid from Jacksonville.
Yeah, North Carolina.
I liked him. I thought he was enthusiastic, and I mean, in a Marine Corps type of way. And what didn't I like? And his spelling was.
Yeah.
I just thought he wasn't prepared.
I didn't understand the numbers. $20,000 in 3 years is 95.
Well, I think it's like $100 bet one
Then
time.
then he
But
explained
one
it's a
time, yeah.
one-time hit.
Yeah.
I got that after. You know.
And I gave Sean, what he's doing is somewhat practical, and I thought his enthusiasm was fine, and everything else I gave him a 1 on because I just thought he wasn't fit. But
Yeah. I mean, he would probably be number 3 for me. He's close to.
well, yeah, he's the only one that got out above 2s on anything else.
Yeah, this is
I mean, you know, I
this is
just
like
them
squeezing
being-
water out of a rock.
Well, it's the only reason why is because last year there were some like really. I think we said
There were some really
There were
good,
some-
strong
There were
presentations,
some really great presentations.
and
last
these
year.
are pretty weak.
Yeah. They really
I
are.
mean, I'm sitting here going, Mike, we need to do some work on telling people, here's what's got to be in your deck in order to be considered for anything.
The basic requirements. For the
I mean, this is what, in order to get this scoring, this is what you're going to need.
and they need a little.
And I don't
fire
know
for
whether
presentation.
we missed for some reason this year in communicating that or not. I mean, we had one less day to prep them this year, which may have affected us.
Mhm.
Because that final day, there was a lot of censuses that took place. We tried to cram this into one day fewer for a number of reasons. So, I don't know. I mean, the business pitches, though, they still had basically, they actually had the same amount of time, come to think of it. The big difference is we didn't go to a football game this year on Saturday and had the graduation on Saturday. But we did the business pitches on Friday and we started on it, yeah, so maybe not. There's just something that was missing this year.
Mhm.
Last year there was some-
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it this year. Like I did the previous 3 years. This is the 4th year.
This is our 5th year. This is Mike's 4th year as director.
And I've been doing it 4 years because I'm Mike didn't do it the first year.
Mike was just a grad student our first year.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I've been a director all 5 years, but my role has changed.
You still,
EVV wasn't under me, it was under someone else 5 years ago.
Mike
The first
Haney,
Huh?
is it Mike Haney or he's Syracuse guy?
He's Syracuse. Mike Haney was Syracuse. It was Kathy Deschamps who had EVV and Elaine Malzakowski, who was the dean's wife.
Huh.
But
He's a great guy.
Kathy retired, and Elaine and the dean went to Purdue for a while. I think they're still at Purdue. But he's no longer, no longer dean at Purdue. And when Kathy left, we promoted Mike to be the director of this program because he had the credibility with his desk.
Yeah, he sure does. He's really.
No,
he's an amazing guy.
He is. He's come so far.
He's an amazing gentleman. All right, I'm leaving it up to you two because.
Well, is this okay that we do this?
We just need one form, I think.
I think we just need one form, and just so it doesn't look like I'm the only one.
No, I would agree with the.
If you would sign off on this, I'll give it to him.
So we're going with David and
David for
Steve.
and Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad there wasn't better competition.
Yeah.
So like some of these, like there's 3 in a row where it was like everything was monotone. The last 3.
Yeah. The last 3 were rough.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh my gosh.
But some of these, like get some swagger in these presentations. And the one guy who just kept giving stories after stories. Second to last. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any more stories.
Lacking on fact.
Oh, that's what I was about to say about him. He had 1,000,001 statistics and didn't cite not one.
Didn't really fully utilize them.
Well, I mean, he had like 1 million. This is expected to increase by 37,000%. And I was like, what are you doing? No, not a sight in sight.
I think they just gave us the tough ones this year. Everybody else is great.
I'm sure they are.
Did I ask you, or do you remember Joe Morrison from last year? The kid had what, Wyatt the dog?
Oh, yeah, I remember Joe.
He,
have you stayed in touch with him?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Because he decided not to do the brewery business.
It was a restaurant bar.
And it was going to be a micro pub kind of thing.
In Stanford.
Yeah.
Or, he had his pictures.
No, he was going to do Hartford.
So I'm at sushi one night in Ridgefield.
Yeah.
And I look around and over the table across from me, this is like last summer, there's a guy sitting there with a red beard and his dog. He's eating with a lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that guy. You know,
Yeah.
How many people do you know that have the service dogs? You know? And I was like, I know that guy. And I walked up to him, and I couldn't remember where I knew him. And he was one of the, he pitched this last year. And I was like, I know you from somewhere. He goes, Bill, remember me from EBB? And so we reconnected, and he came to my office a few times with his cousin, who was going to be fun. His cousin was worked for banking, had some money, was going to invest in Joe's company, and you know, I started engaging them on business planning, and I gave them sample templates for you know, balance sheet, financial statements, stuff like that, cash flow, really for cash flow.
Yeah.
And they were doing it in Stanford, and they had picked out a spot. And but every time I met with Joe, I love Joe. He's a really good, sweet guy, and a badass human being. What he did, his story.
Yeah.
And he smelled like booze. You know, and I would bring in many ways. And so I tried to work with him, and I never said anything about it, but I just was like, it's a tough environment, to be working in.
If you have alcohol.
Yeah, and I know, I was like, how many pills do you, because he was telling me about these pills. And he's like, you should see the amount of pills I have to take, like anxiety and that.
Right.
And then the last time I saw Joe was this kid in New Fairfield was killed in Iraq, kid from New Fairfield, where we live over there. And Joe texted me or emailed me, so you going to the funeral? It was Westcon's big Eye Center gym, it's a huge facility, huge funeral. And I was like, yeah, in Danbury. And I set up near my office, and I set out to pick you up because he wanted to go. And I took him to this kid's funeral who was like, a young kid. Joe, trip to circuit for him. He didn't go outside. Yeah, I took care of him from my office. And he was like, I never want. And he smelled the night before. And he's like, I never want to go. I want to go to the never, remind me. Yeah. And so, but then he went dark on me for a while. And I checked in with him. I didn't get back. And then he recently texted me, and he said he's moving back up to Danbury from Stanford, and he wants to get together. And he's obviously started his business, but he's a good soul, and he does have a family support network that I met his uncle and some people with in my dealings with Joe. He's a good kid, and I really hope he can get through his personal stuff. What happened to him was so unfortunate, terrible. I was like, so what are you gonna do when you go into business for yourself? You're gonna shave that big red beard off? And he goes, I'll never shave this beard. He goes, this beard saved me. He's like holding on his beard. He goes, this beard saved my life 50 times. He's like, because I was a sharpshooter, and all the people in town called me Redbeard. And he had the name for it. And he called me Redbeard. There's a devil beard.
Right, devil beard.
And he's like, so it saved my life because they knew who I was. And they saw my beard. He never shaved me. I walk in my suit and my big beard. Good for you. God bless you. But yeah, so Joe Morrison is just a good guy. I try to stay in contact with him. I gotta reach out to him. Yeah. It's a tough business for anybody to get into. The restaurant business, I think it's
really, really hard. I mean, we tried to talk to him.
By far the most.
Yeah, the most failures. He's worked in it before, as a worker, but that doesn't mean you're gonna. Because I like to eat a lot, doesn't mean I'm gonna be able to open up a grocery store.
Well, it doesn't mean that you're gonna get a successful business model.
Yeah.
I mean, even people who have been in it have a hard time.
Yeah. I mean, just like one snag, and you can have a successful restaurant and go, and the best on the block, and nothing.
Yeah.
Overnight. Yeah.
I mean, you can go from absolutely. I mean, you can have a whole string of successes, and all of a sudden you launch a second or third venue, and it doesn't work, and then bam, there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's good serving with you guys.
All right.
All right. Good. You have the official form?
I got the official form. I'm going to carry out my duties as an official judge.
It was good to see you. Are you going to the dinner tonight?
I have to, because I have to give out these awards.
I was going to.
And I wanted to be sure that at least one of the candidates to give it to for my group, I could do it with a straight face.
Yeah, now you can. Good meeting, man. All right. Are you getting out of here? Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Are you guys done here? Yeah. Okay. Let me just close the broadcast.